dime on the mission, snap any minute, casually winning. Stop tripping on me, stop dissing on me. Yeah, I got a dream, can't take it from me. My fire's burning, I'm always learning. Tell me where to go, man, I'm on a journey. Yeah, I can't explain it, I get excited. Keep it 300, King Leonidas. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have the spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them, but most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting, it's hot. Look what I got, whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane. Stay out my lane, cause I'm on a mission. I'm getting what stands in my way. Yeah, I'm a beast, I wouldn't play with me, baby. The way that I'm training is crazy and I do it daily. You wanna talk about drive? I got more drive than Mercedes, I've never been lazy. I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete, well get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth, and I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. Look, I don't want anyone's sympathy. I understand what it's meant for me. I give my focus and energy. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. But mentally, I'm undefeated. They hear that and say I'm conceited, like there's no reason. Like I don't beat them and come back again just to teach them that when you work under pressure, you reach higher measures. They'll try and bring you down, but you cannot let them, and only get better and focus on cheddar. Eye on the prize and you'll become a legend. Like, when I'm in the room, it's a red alert. You wanna compete, well get better first. I got 10 toes in the dirt, push through the hurt just to show them my worth. I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best. I never stress. I know what's next. I'm who they test, like we playing chess. But I'm unimpressed, so now let me flex. Yeah, I'ma work through the struggle and hurt, cause I know my worth. And I gotta be first. Yeah, I gotta be first. They don't know what's gotten into me. How'd I turn pain into energy? Through all the struggle and hurt, remember my worth, and that's why I gotta be first.
Another day, another region, as today we set our sights on the Call of Duty Mobile Open Finals for NA. 16 teams will battle it out today for those coveted 8 challenge season spots and the opportunity to continue on in this competition. We've got top dogs like LG, Team Mayhem, and Tribe returning to the competition, ready to take everyone on. So let's find out who our challenge teams will be. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Player on top, know it. Rooftop, penthouse suite. If you really want it, gotta own it. Fight through it, we was at the lowest. Blood, sweat, tears, the components. Riding all year, now's the moment. We are not friends, we are opponents. Yeah, I'm coming for mine. Yeah, I'm making a play, the game on the line. Yeah, I've been on the grind. Yeah, I jump in the spot, I made it my time. Yeah, look in the sky. Yeah, the stars align, no shade to shine. Can't stop it already. Emotional work and devotion, we put in this time. Look, you won't stop.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where it's another day in our weekend of Call of Duty mobile action. But today our focus will be on the NA region, which is sure to be a very exciting competition. My name is Glitter Explosion, and we're back with Bobby and Proper to walk you through all of the action. Bobby, a region I know you love. Are you excited to get into this NA action?
Yeah, obviously in my home region, I've been covering them for the last almost 4 years at this point, and it's been cool to see the way that it's evolved and definitely become some of the top dogs in all of COD Mobile. It's definitely going to be an absolute banger of a night.
Proper, you're looking very dapper today, prepared and ready for the competition. How are you feeling?
Hey, you guys keep saying I look dapper even before we went live. I mean, this is just the shirt that I was wearing when I was out earlier, but I feel great. It feels good to be back for yet another region. Excited to see who's going to qualify for the next stage.
It's going to be a really fun day in chat. You know, if you want to stay up to date with not only what's happening today, but all challenge season long, what's going on in NA, make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. Okay, we've got X, we've got Insta and Facebook. Just make sure you're on there with us so you don't miss a single second of any of the action. And not just our social media, but also join our Discord. Discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series is where you want to go so you can hang out with our SPS community, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and get even more of those updates as things progress. Now, obviously, we've been doing this all weekend, but if today's the first day that you're joining us and you don't know how this tournament works, that's why we've got Bobby here, because he is now the format expert since last season. So, Bobby, tell him how it goes down.
We got solo play, playing with friends in a bracket. 128 teams dwindled down to the 16 that we have tonight, and only 8 will advance on to the challenge stage. They'll play in that round robin event where we'll have 4 teams at the top, and North American region's actually going to get 2 spots in the finals of the Snapdragon Pro Series Masters,
which is going to be very exciting when we get to that final stage. But it's not just those challenge season spots they're fighting for. We've got a little bit of cash on the line proper to sweeten the pot a bit.
Yeah, just sweeten the deal a little bit more. Top 4 gets $500. You place top 8, $350. Top 12 goes down to $250. And then top 16, you get some apple juice money and $150, kind of fattening the wallet just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, just like a little bit of a reward for making it all the way here. I mean, down from 128 to the top 16, at least they get to go home with something in their pocket if they're unable to make it through to the challenge season. Now, we're in a new region. There's lots of storylines that we need to talk about. And in order to get a little bit of a lay of the land for everyone at home for what we're preparing for this season, we have to go back to season 3. Okay, we need to talk about some of our heavy hitters from season 3, because these are very recognizable names back yet again. Obviously, Luminosity Gaming, Tribe Gaming, and then Mayhem as well, Bobby.
Yeah, obviously these were, for the most part, the top dogs all the way through the group play. It was Luminosity and Tribe that dominated the whole way through. But it's definitely been more back and forth since then, as obviously LG has remained at the top, not only of North America, but I think you could argue they are the team to be in the entire world for COD Mobile. So Team Mayhem obviously got the better of Tribe in the playoffs. It was in the group stages that LG really showed their dominance, but Tribe seemed like they were right there next to them and seemed to be almost a shoo-in for that second place spot. You go back to the one that we're watching right now, and this was the final match of the season for the group stages. I would argue one of the best group stage matches we saw for any region, as it went all the way down to map number 5, and an incredibly dominant hardpoint map for Tribe that seemed like it had swung the momentum their way, sitting up 200-30 at one point on that map, but it went 7 rounds in a row the way of Luminosity, and they were able to close that one out, and the momentum definitely carried through into the playoffs.
Yeah, a really high level of competition in this region. And like you mentioned, the highlights that we just saw were from the last match of the regular season. But let's talk about PAX West a little bit as well, because we did have that land this year at the end of season 3, where all of these teams were able to fight it out in the competition. And when we take a look at what happened in this bracket, it was LG all the way through, taking home the grand final proper 4-2 in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been watching COD Mobile, you recognize the names, you see LG in a bracket, and you pretty much assume that it's going to be just LG on top, right? I mean, it all just comes down to what the opponents can do against them. Team Mayhem definitely was the conversation point in a lot of opinions when it came down to PAX West for finals. A dark horse, if you will, if you can even call it that, considering they're a top 3 dog. But nonetheless, you know, making the run that they did, getting through Tribe along the way, definitely opened up a lot of eyes. I think that you can't bat an eyelash on taking 2 maps off of Luminosity. All that said, obviously you want to become the champions yourself, but taking 2 maps off of LG is no easy feat.
Yeah, no question about it, and they showed that dominance all the way through. Obviously, it was a better grand finals than I think a lot of people predicted, just because of how dominant LG were. And I think Mayhem showed that they do have that element that allows you to step up whenever it matters the most. I think that's the biggest question mark for Tribe, is whether or not come stage 5, come Masters finals, whatever it is, they're going to be able to step up on the biggest stage, because it really does matter the most, not only whether or not you've got the gunny, whether you got the teamwork, but whether you got that clutch gene as well.
I mean, I love being able to see all of the players' reactions there from PAX West. That was a super fun tournament. If you guys haven't checked it out, go back, watch the VOD so you can kind of understand what we're talking about, because now we're looking at season 4. We're trying to get our teams for this next upcoming challenge season. Today is how that will happen. We're going to go from 16 down to 8. So there's going to be lots of action here today. This is the bracket, and I'll explain how this is going to work. All of our squads that are in this upper bracket quarterfinal, the 4 teams that win there automatically solidified into challenge season. They will be safe. Whoever loses from the upper bracket will drop down to the lower bracket round of 8, where they will wait to see who wins in the first lower bracket round of 8 to go up against them. Then that lower bracket will play out, and we'll get 4 more teams through to the challenge season, and then those will be your 8 squads competing in NA. Now, obviously, there's lots of action here today, so there will be matches that are happening off stream that we won't be watching, but every time they're done, we'll come back in this bracket, check it out with you guys at home so you can stay up to date on what's going on as the play continues on top of whatever it is that we're currently talking about on your screen. We promise you won't miss anything, and by the end of today, we'll have the challenge season set. So it's going to be a lot of Call of Duty Mobile. I hope everybody's ready and prepared for it. And before we start talking about the first match of the day, I just want to pose a quick question to both of you. Bobby, I'll get your answer first, because I want to know if you think there are any new teams coming in that could potentially beat any of our top 3, or even more specifically, if you don't think that's a possibility within the top 3, will it be LG that remains number 1, or will there be kind of some status shuffling after roster changes?
I will say the one new team that I think could shake things up a little bit and potentially make their way into top 3, although you need to be top 2 if you want a spot in those Masters finals, would be this Truly squad. Obviously, it's a name that has been in COD Mobile for North America for quite a while. They haven't managed to win any of the big events, but they put together a solid roster that's comprised of a lot of the players that we saw on DICE last season. And then a lot of people don't know that before Forsaken was on Tribe during the group stages and the playoffs, he was actually on that DICE roster. So now that he's been replaced on Tribe, he's made his way back onto this Truly roster. They've got a lot of talent, picking up Yawn, who is actually on ARP during the group stages as well. And that's definitely one you guys are going to want to keep your eyes out for.
Proper, what about you?
It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, me and Bobby were already kind of discussing it before we actually went live with the broadcast, and it's a total agreement, right? I mean, you look at a lot of these names and when that bracket was just being showcased, and you want to always give everybody the benefit of the doubt that maybe they could end up upsetting the top 3, but it's starting to feel like a little bit of an F1 race out here as far as North America is concerned. You got the top 3. Who's going to be able to steal away that second spot? Maybe try to upset LG if you can take a map. Great, but I think all eyes are on Truly to be the upset for that podium.
All right. I love it. I love it. Well, it's time for us to start talking about our first match. And I know we spent a lot of time talking about our kind of incumbent squads, and we're going to see them compete a little bit later on in the day. But we're starting off the day with some newcomers. Zero Remorse and Disciples will be match number 1. And we saw this a little bit in EU as well, Proper. Lots of new faces trying to make their mark on the scene. So give me your thoughts on this first matchup.
It's funny because as I was just going through all the different notes that I could potentially find through all the different web pages that were available, Zero Remorse, I mean, Levi, Give It Up on Life, hell of a name, Carlos, Dead Justice, and Dreamville, I couldn't find a single thing on them. And when I was talking to Bobby about it as well, I mean, these are what we consider to be your rank grinders. They found themselves all the way through the multitude of stages to find themselves in this position to qualify for the upcoming stage. And it becomes this modicum of, can you make a name for yourself? We want to see what these new guys got.
All right. No, that's the Zero Remorse roster, like you said. But Bobby, talk to me about Disciples.
I think Disciples is very much a similar sentiment to the Zero Remorse roster. It's very, very new. As somebody who plays a lot of ranked in North America, I'm usually pretty familiar with who the ranked warriors are, and I will be honest, I have not run into any of the players on either of these rosters. So it's definitely very, very new for me. But once again, one of the beauties of the 128 team bracket is that anybody can make it to the top. And I'm curious to see what these guys are going to be bringing to the table, but also kind of making me wish that I had made a run of my own with the Bobby Buckets Dino Nuggets.
I was gonna say, are you telling me that they need to go through Team Bobby Buckets before they're on the radar?
I'm just saying, you want to throw one of these, like there's any 2 out of 4 teams in the next couple of matches. I think Bobby Buckets Dino Nuggets could give them a run for their money.
Hey, I would pay to see it. I'm here for that, all right? If that's what has to happen, we'll change the tournament rules. You have to go through Bobby Buckets Dino Nuggets in order to really make it. That's now the rule.
I mean, I'm down. Just set up the room and I'll be there.
All right.
Caveat is that you have to live commentate while you're actually playing the match as well. Like, and somehow read everything that the enemy team is doing. Where you got to make sure that at least you're stressed to give the enemy team a chance. Of course.
I mean, I was going to volunteer you as well, Proper. But we'll get the map veto up here, and you guys can continue this argument back and forth. We'll see what our teams have chosen for the day as we kick things off with the hard point. There, Bobby.
Yeah, I can't really give a whole lot of breakdown on the maps because I have no idea what to expect out of these guys. Obviously, Arsenal and Apocalypse. Arsenal, if you're a ranked warrior, might not be your best map pick as it is currently not in the map pool for hardpoint. So a little bit surprising to see that up there, but potentially showing that these guys do have some experience on the competitive side as well. And maybe expectations should be set a little bit higher as to how these guys approach this map. And we could potentially see a gap formed early on if one of these teams has a little bit more practice and is a little bit more experienced on maps like Arsenal.
The Apocalypse map number 4 is, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of Apocalypse come through. It's always going to be one of those tried and trues. I feel like that I've been seeing it ever since season 3. And let's be candid, Arsenal Hardpoint, that's a map mode combination that's been in a Call of Duty for about 6 years. So you better study up on some BO4 or something if you don't know what you're getting into, because we have had that quite some time. And look, a firing range map number 2. If you all missed all of Europe, we are quite accustomed to a firing range search and destroy map number 2. So we feel right at home here. And hell, if it goes the distance for a meltdown map number 5, then obviously we'll have to kind of break the mold once we get there.
Yeah,
I was waiting for that, Bobby, to see if we were going to get any variety from EU as the control comes through as well. But I think you know what you're in for already.
I wish I could be a part of the map bans because I just want to see like just one different search and destroy map. I think we're now at like a 90% pick rate for the firing range search and destroy. Hopefully Tribe and LG will give us a different look or something, because good night. It's just shocking that every team seems to want to play it. I don't know if it's because it's been in the map pool for that long or what, but my goodness. I know that I know that LG are big fans of Tunisia, so maybe some way that gets snuck into the rotation.
You know, long term, though, if you think about it, this is kind of an important topic of discussion, because these teams, if they want to continue making their way through to the higher level of competitions, will need better map variety. There will be a point where firing range is banned out, and they'll have to be a little bit more versatile than that. And we'll have to see if that's something that maybe we can hopefully expect out of the challenge season when we get all of those top 8 teams whittled down. But if I'm not mistaken, I think match number 1 is about to get underway. Our open finals are officially starting, so let's get into it.
All right, hopping in to the Arsenal hardpoint. Once again, love seeing some different looks. I think I saw an HVK come out. The HVK itself is not banned, but the large cal is. So I'd be very intrigued to see somebody trying the HVK without it, because typically that's the game changer for the weapon itself. That's a hot start for Disciples right here. 10 seconds on the hard point, a little lurker on the inside events, not making their way through, and pleasantly surprised by the map control and the mastery that we're seeing on this map so far to get things started for Disciples.
I know, right? I mean, take a look at all the map control that you're getting on the south side. It's going to be Hope that is just cutting down a whole bunch of different lanes past the trees, and that's exactly what you want to see, especially for these newcomers. This is what I was talking about. You can slay, sure, but I want to see some really good fundamentals. You got 4 players still stacked around the hard point. 1 did previously fall, but this has been, I would say, quite a dominant P1 out of Disciples so far.
Yeah, and I do recognize maybe one name on Team Disciples, so hopefully a little more familiarity, and it looks like they're absolutely cleaning house right now as a Pred missile has already been earned for Pancake off the start. Hope's gonna find one for himself, and this might not be as close as I quite expected it to be. We've seen that with some of the more unknown teams seemingly equally matched just because of maybe a lack of experience, but Disciples absolutely going in right now and showing zero mercy here. Pancake's going to be able to pick up another, and that's going to be Kato picking up the last to clean out that top side. Cold is not giving up any real estate, and Obey is just here to wipe out that doorway. The streaks start to rain from above, and this one getting out of hand quickly as Levi, HVK in hand without the large cal, not going to be quite as impactful. 0 kills on the board. Maybe a time for a change of options right here as Disciples 80 points off the start.
I mean, we are just about another full 60 away from Zero Remorse, requesting remorse from Disciples. I mean, you exactly got to see what you can benefit when Hope, off of the initial rip, was immediately pushing past batteries just to make sure that they held that crane side of the map ahead of P2. Take the scrap time if you want to. Disciples, again, have themselves the rotation over towards P3. They're already setting up quite wonderfully around this jet hard point, and they have players that are watching all these different narrow choke points. If you're Zero Remorse, you were forced to kind of set yourself up on a pinch and try to whittle out where some of these positions are being held.
I'll be honest, I'm not even sure that Zero Remorse knew where the new hard point was. They had 3 people on old waiting for the new hard point to pop, and puts them so far behind on rotation that it becomes nearly impossible for them to have any type of a major impact on this one. Hope should be able to find one for the cutoff, but didn't hit the reload in time. Fortunately for them, Pred missile in hand for Obey, and he's going to be able to drop one right there. Zero Remorse not making their way anywhere close. Big wrap from Sparta right here, and should be able to flip out spawns, but once again, the timing probably not going to be beneficial for that move as Pancake cleans 2 more, sends them spawning on the opposite side of the map, and now Disciples perfectly set up over toward P4.
Yeah, that's one of those just like conceding back 10 seconds or even like 15. It's just that junk time that they're completely fine with giving up if you're Disciples, because I mean, again, look at the setup, the rotation all the way through the middle of the map, going back over towards batteries, getting themselves all hunkered down ahead of this hard point as well. Or you got a gravity vortex cannon being pulled out as well. Operators, streaks galore coming in for Disciples. You don't even have a single piece of utility for Zero Remorse if you want to break on into this. The equalizer from Hope is just keeping everybody at bay. This is just picture perfect hard point being showcased by Disciples.
And definitely kind of gives me hope for these underdogs in North America that maybe we didn't really expect to see a ton out of, but definitely phenomenal Arsenal hardpoint being played by Disciples right now. Zero Remorse left to play catch up at every turn. Dead Justice doing everything he can to keep his team in this with 10 kills on the board, more than the rest of the squad combined. And we've got an EMP system earned for Obey as he's still trying to build up some of these streaks. And it looks like he will keep going here over on P4. We get ready to set up for that P5 rotation. And it looks like this time a final opportunity for Zero Remorse to get some early control. But just like that, they're shut down. And time again, the feed turns blue is one opportunity for Zero Remorse to capitalize on that early rotation. Not going to be able to happen right here.
All right. Look at that. Some life for Zero Remorse. They're able to get themselves on this side of the map, whether they intended to or not. They are able to at least find a couple of eliminations, at least inside of P5, but Hope comes right back in, breaks up the monotony of it, gets a couple trades, but Zero Remorse still have some semblance of some close spawns. They got to make sure that they're at least controlling this hard point. It's going to force Levi to pull out the Purifier, kind of clean things up inside of this hill, but Disciples, I mean, look at all the blue circles on the mini-map, Bobby. They are just so quick to set up the pinch. They swarm on in. Now we're down to 20 seconds. Disciples are about to be over 200.
Yeah, and we've got operators ready to go on the inside of the hard point. Should anybody be able to make it past that first line, Levi looking to contest, but he's not going to be able to find an angle, and Once again, Disciples straight up running the map right now as more operators come out on the rotation back toward P1. Hope going to be able to sniff out another couple right there. Pancake ready to go with that Annihilator. And Disciples perfectly set up on the inside of P1. Split spawns right now for Zero Remorse, and they're not going to be able to make anything out of it, as at every single turn, Disciples have shut them down. More streaks ready to go. And Disciples looking like they are well on their way to a clean map 1.
I got 40 seconds off of P1 in the first set of rotations. This is P1 in the second set of the rotations. Do not adjust your screen. That scoreline is very true. 230 to 38. Zero Morse, you gotta somehow find your way in. Equalizers are being popped over for Disciples. They have so much utility just to keep them at bay. I don't think Zero Morse find a way in.
Yeah, perfect map control. Finally, a couple kills go through, but the turn from Disciples is decisive right there, and they're going to be there to respond in turn. Couple more seconds needed to close this one out, and they will find it as they put Zero Remorse in the 40-point club and show Zero Remorse themselves. That Disciples team, I don't know if they're quite as good as they looked right there, but if they can perform anywhere near that against the top dogs, then we may potentially have another challenger here in the Snapdragon Pro Series.
I mean, it's awesome to have like this entire learning as we go along, right? Being able to see some names that even you don't know, Bobby. And that's what's just very beautiful about this entire system. We got to see some really good core fundamentals just off the rip. I mean, you got 3 players just immediately hitting the hard point, 2 hitting the OE. You got 1 player that got left behind just to control the entirety of batteries. And it was just beautiful because that's the rotation over towards New. From there on out, it's just completely hunkered down inside P1, giving up scrap time, playing ahead for the rotation, setting up at New, getting full 60s in positions where, hey, let's be quite frank, as far as Arsenal is concerned, you should probably never get away with when the teams are just a little bit equal. But Disciples making it look easy here in the map 1 versus Zero Morse.
Yeah, and once again, it's one of those scenarios where it's kind of tough to paint a picture toward map 2 where there's a realistic expectation for Disciples to bounce back. You got 3+ KDs across the board. 3+ KDs, well, a narrative for Zero Remorse to bounce back as Disciples have the 3 KDs across the board. And I mean, Dead Justice did a really good job. Whoa, we are quickly into map number 2 right there as well. Dead Justice put up a solid stat line, especially given the way that his team was getting cooked. I think it's admirable that he was able to come through right there, but you got to anticipate that Disciples are just so much more prepared coming into this one. It's going to take a god tier performance out of somebody here in the S&D. It looks like Levi is going to have sniper in hand, so we'll see if he has some flashy plays to maybe give his team a chance in this one, as Zero Remorse not in the position they'd like to be off the start.
Immediately hitting towards B, though, for Zero Remorse, completely flipping the script, as we typically see a lot of mid-control, maybe trying to get inside a trailer, get over towards A, but all this utility that's being thrown over, you can see player number 3 in blue, Coldest, is seeing all this come through. That's going to be the immediate call for Pancake to maybe try to double down, get past Americas, get inside of Tires. Can he go 1-for-1 in this situation? Yeah, he sure can. That's a job well done, but you lose Pancake on the back end. So Zero Remorse still trying to assault this B site.
Coldest going to be able to wrap outside. Damage is done, but probably no need to engage right there. He's going to still look to contest, and seeing one on the car head, he backs up. Teammates get a couple of picks right there. Sniper in hand, and right now Zero Remorse are pinched back in a bad way. 1 player remaining. It's Dreamville and Obey going to make the read right there. Disciples, as expected, take round number 1, and very solid adjustments right there, not overcommitting into any of those plays. Zero Remorse got to find a way to make adjustments here.
I mean, you found the pick in the back. You gave up so much time instead of swarming the site that Obey just pinched it. Found 3 before round's end. Can't allow yourself to hesitate like that, Zero Remorse, especially when you go 1-for-1 in the opening blood. So immediate wood control is the name of the game for Zero Remorse. A lot of shots hailing across firing range, but Hope gonna land the shot required. Finds first blood on the Levi.
I think that was a nice jump shot from the backside of 10. So that's going to open things up and once again put the offense in a difficult position, looking for picks. But the QQ9 in hand, no real opportunity at range. You got to hope your ARs and your snipers can open things up. Nick's going to get pushed up right here, but you once again have at least 1 player waiting on the B zone. That's going to be Coldest. He's already got 1 kill on the board as Zero Remorse just doesn't want to commit. 1 player sliding up, but not quite in the line of sight. That first engagement going to be crucial, and he's not going to be able to win it.
And the more time that you spend just trying to send 1 player to maybe try to fish out information, it allows Disciples to get further adjusted across the map. Hope has moved his way over from trailer. He's going to take down Dreamville. That is the bomb quite literally patty caked in a very tough spot. Not to mention how if you're Sparta, you're kind of staring down the barrel of 1v5. So good luck, Soldier.
Bombs down. You got players wrapping from every direction possible. Your only avenue through the mid map, and there's still 2 players waiting on top of the bomb. So the rest of the Disciples players just going to kind of roam around the map, trying to find that final kill. Sparta trying to catch at least 1 player off guard, but brother, there's 22 seconds. You got to make a play for the bomb or play for some kills at this point, and you got to think this is probably the opening and the closing of the round. Kato's there to drop him, and Disciples extend out the lead to 2-0. Zero Remorse, just no solid adjustments right there to give much hope of them bouncing back in this one. Levi has got to be the guy to open things up. He's got that sniper in hand, but the reads just haven't been right for him, and has not been able to capitalize on that so far.
Only 2 kills so far, and it's immediately trying to at least transition past bathrooms, but it's that first blood again that rings all the way through for Disciples. Does find a trade for Zero Remorse. You're still lacking in numbers, but this is when you can't hesitate. Make a decision. If you have any utility, use it. Try to bait out an angle and get these numbers back.
Nick trying to sniff one out. Finally a kill through for Disciples. They've got 3 on the map so far. Probably not what you would like to see at this point in the progression, but at least you keep 2 people alive on the inside of Wood. Bomb still in hand, but just no real decisions being made as they wait for Disciples to push up. It kind of send 2 players willy-nilly into over-aggressive positions without the right amount of utility, and Disciples are able to make them pay immediately. Interestingly enough, DRH coming out. I've seen a couple players using that on actually some of the top teams, so I'm curious if we see that come out in the LG Tribe matchup later today. But finally, Zero Remorse going to commit to a push right here. Nick making his way along the back A side. Time continues to be against them right here, as he may have given away an audio cue, and it seems like Obey has the information he needs to, if they see a push into trailer off the start right here, make the counter play. Bomb plant probably going to go through right here. They do get rid of the trophy, and a sniper pick is found for Sparta. That could be the opening, but Coldest going to find one. Can he find the second?
Sparta gave up the angle, though, so look at the flank that's immediately coming through from Hope. He's already past bathrooms as well. The site gets opened up. They have no idea where Sparta's located at. You might just hop this if you are Coldest. It looks over top of the bomb, gets the read of the situation. Coldest was on it already. Pancake there for the assistance. And I'm not going to lie there, Bobby. Even in a 3v4, I love that immediate push. Yeah, you're baiting out time. Hey, go figure. Disciples are on defense. They're not going to have to push you. You kind of have to push them, Zero Remorse. So they're not going to give you any free bloods, especially to bring the numbers back. But I do love that execution coming back over to get that bomb planted, to at least watch the flank, which is about holding the post plant.
And just... You can tell there's a lack of confidence for Zero Remorse, and I think that's where it starts. Nick having connection issues, that's only going to compound the issues that they've had already. And it looks like it actually is going to be a first blood going the way of Zero Remorse. Traded back immediately as Pancake finds one for himself. Kato not able to find an angle, so... once again, set to reset the round as 1 player making their way over toward the B zone. That's going to be Levi. He's going to get spotted out right there. Not going to be able to connect on any of those shots. Wishing that maybe he had his Rytech out right there. I don't know if he knows that he can wall bang that wall, but not going to take the shot. And once again, a waiting game for Zero Remorse that Disciples are more than happy to play, being on the defensive side.
Yeah, you can see Nick just standing still. So, I mean, we kind of go under a minute in this round, and it's... what can you possibly find if you're the other 3 players here for Zero Remorse? Pancake and his repositioning is not on this side alone. You can see Coldest still playing in that 1-for-1 angle. The DRH in hand, looking to get a little antsy a little bit further forward through Banana. If he swings a little bit further, he probably would have had the angle, but the bait and switch is good to set up Pancake. Coldest rechows. Both players go down. Nick may have reconnected to the lobby, but that bomb is dropped in no man's land.
Yeah, great teamwork right there out of the boys from Disciples, and that leaves 2 here for Zero Remorse. Bomb has to be retrieved. Guys, once again, 20 seconds. If you're going to do something, then do something. We got the nail gun out for Sparta right here. Kato should be able to spot him from above, and probably all down to Nick. Sparta's actually able to get the nail gun kill. I don't think that we'll see too terribly many of those today. An opportunity, not really. 3 seconds remain in the round. Coldest going to put him out of his misery, and Disciples continue to extend out that lead, now up 4.
I mean, we could put like a minor asterisk on top of it, but I mean, it's still that hesitation. And I love that call on the lack of confidence, I would say. I mean, you just got, quite frankly, milli-watts as far as that Arsenal hardpoint is concerned, so I wouldn't feel too confident in my gunny either. So Zero Remorse desperately need a response back. They're running out of rounds on offense. They're just all hunkered down inside of wood. I mean, the nades over the top barely find anything, if not maybe just a connection. There are players over there at B, we know that, but this time they're pushing past Banana.
Yeah, and maybe the most decision that we've seen out of Zero Remorse in the entirety of this game, but still very discombobulated. That's going to allow Coldest to hit a flank right there. He picks up 2, Hope picks up another, and just like that, down to 2 players for Zero Remorse again. Sparta left all alone. He's got 5 kills on the map. More than the whole team combined. Once again, we've seen other players with similar stat lines. And Disciples continue to run away with this one as they now sit up 5-0 and looking like we could be on our way to what I believe would be our 9th straight 3-0 in the Snapdragon Pro Series for COD Mobile.
Love how you're just keeping track of that. Obey definitely feeling himself to maybe try to make this a little bit of a speed run. Tries to push all the way inside of wood, gets caught with his pants down. And it didn't exactly have anybody in a situation where you could potentially find that trade, but one comes through regardless. 4v4 across the map. This time, if you are Pancake and Coldest, playing patiently around the B bomb site instead of pushing all the way through Banana. And Dead Justice, I mean, he's dead on an island, quite frankly. He was all the way pushed up there with no assistance whatsoever. And we go back to the Zero Remorse camp, Cam, as we are just expecting them to probably sit here and maybe try to bait out a challenge, maybe find a pick before they fully push into one of these sites.
If I'm being honest, like if I'm Zero Remorse, at some point, just full send a bomb site with all your utility and see if it works. They have been so spread across the map on every single round. They have not found a single first blood outside of maybe one in round 4. It can't get any worse, you know? The slow approach has not worked for you at any turn. Commit to something. Levi's going to be able to find one on Decado, and just like that, it's a 2-piece for Hope. Make it a 3-piece. The Deagle connects as well, and the defensive side is very one-sided as Disciples now only need 1 round to close things out.
We'll put a pin in that discussion as far as how to push a bomb site after this potential final round, as sides will swap. Offense now for Disciples, and well, wouldn't you know it, 5 players strong, nades over the top. Bobby, they want the same bomb.
They were listening to the broadcast. Apparently, we'll see whether or not it works. Hey, there's Coldest finding the first blood. Dead Justice peeks out. He's going to get dropped immediately, and it's almost like this is a team game as Disciples flood on through the A zone. Not necessarily an approach I would recommend against every team in COD Mobile, but especially against a Disciples team that isn't the best of the best in the region. You know, it's something that they at least could have tried, but Disciples show them how it's done there in the final round, and that is another quick 7-0. We've seen a surprising number of those on the weekend.
Yeah, we sure have, right? If it's not a firing range, map number 2, a 7-0 just might be on the horizon as well. But I mean, it's just got to be talked about, right? I mean, you come in your round 1 offense, your Disciples short, you're up 6-0, so you might as well just full set a bomb site. But I mean, that's just a day 1 strategy, isn't it? Where it's like you got to feel out where some of these players are positioned at. I'm not going to say that what Zero Remorse were attempting to do as far as their offense is concerned, and maybe try to find that first pick and then try to push into one of these bomb sites isn't useful. But you had no information, like negative information on where some of these players are located at. And you allowed Disciples to be able to dissect this round after round, to play in these 1-for-1 corners, turn them into positional advantages. And Zero Remorse just were trying to isolate themselves even further, that by the time they could even get a bomb down, what was it, a single round, it was that time where we actually got to see them coordinate a push together. The bait and switches were good. They got the bomb site down, but it's just the lack of information in the early going of the round that is just so mind-boggling for me.
Yeah, if Zero Remorse want to have any type of chance in this competition, they got to make some quick VOD reviews and I guess make their way to any other search and destroy map besides firing range. That's not something that I would recommend that they try again. Obviously, getting ready to head into the control right now. Typically, the S&D is the map of the underdog, so if there was going to be an opportunity for No Remorse to make something happen, it should have been right there. We now head into a mode that's definitely very much leaning the direction of the more experienced players as far as competitive goes, just because we've only seen it in the ranked rotation for about a month so far. So we'll see what Zero Remorse can make out of this one. But man, Disciples have looked so dominant in this matchup. Hope didn't quite hit that spray for long enough, but Coldest with an opportunity to take one down over the wall, not going to be able to make it happen, and by far the strongest start that we've seen out of Zero Remorse so far.
Absolutely. I mean, good kills, good trades, but I mean, just the timing past the A-bomb tank just comes through immediately. Kato just shuts it down, and now I feel like Grandma is going to be rather busy over by that house as the pinch is starting to be set up around the back. At least you were able to shut down Kato, back Deli, but some more kills still need to come through. Keep in mind, Nick had slipped the net. You already got past towards Bakery, but again, up creep without a paddle, just in no man's land. Hope's got a chopper up top, just shutting them down as they spawn up. 26 plays up against 16, now under 45 seconds.
Yeah, the strong start did not last very long. Kato's just doing whatever he wants to. Razorback is out right now, and he's still tearing them up. 5 kills on the board already, and Zero Remorse just running for their lives right now as the spawn trap starts to set in. Finally, a couple kills go through, but every time they find them, there's immediate reinforcements for this Disciple squad. Pancake's going to pick up one, another for Hope. Maybe a player inside Deli to help out Dead Justice, and he will be able to find that one for himself. But once again, seeming like a matter of time as it's now 21-9 and not remotely close to an objective captured.
Oh, not at all. I mean, you had a player on the A zone at least trying to stall out a little bit. Love to at least see some urgency being showcased for Zero Remorse, but that urgency was a day late and about a few, maybe a dozen lives short. Yeah. I mean, the start was fantastic. They found a couple trades. They were at least reading that there were players. Top hotel trades were there. They were getting forward map positioning, but once they got themselves in a position to maybe try to step foot on that A zone, they were kind of like a deer in headlights. Where do we even go from there? So first round via kills will be there for Disciples. Now it's their turn for offense.
All right. It's a very quick push around the backside of Grandma's right here. It gets read actually by Zero Remorse as they're able to keep lives even off the start, make it life advantage. It was a strong push for a spawn trap for Disciples that didn't really work out the way they would like to. And the one player that made his way up gets red, but Hope wins the gunfight anyway, actually takes out 2 right there. And that's going to allow some distraction for one player to make their way onto the B zone. Pancake going to be covering the road and Obey covering the doorway. Solid map control right here as the rest get cleaned out by Hope with the equalizer in hand. And strong control on both objectives early here for Disciples.
I mean, Hope is just ripping them asunder in and around from Bakery, right? I mean, that's just the benefit from the push off the rip past Deli. You get back behind the hostile, and well, you're immediately looking at that B zone getting captured. Second segment well on its way for A. Predator missile being called in, finds at least 1. That Justice and Sparta at least answer back with 2 of their own. They're still trailing by 7 lives, but I will say this, if they can find an entrance point to be able to hold around this area, never mind. They all just die, Bobby, and it looks like Disciples are well on their way to capture this A zone.
And Dreamville's still looking for his first kill. I don't know if we need a switch of the weapon or something else, but brother, we're more than halfway through the second round of a control. You gotta have more to bring to the table than this. That is a fully captured A zone as well as the B as well. As that happened, one of the Zero Remorse players took himself out. I think maybe putting himself out of his own misery right there it's not great signs for Zero Remorse, as now almost all operators charged and ready to go for Disciples. If you didn't think this one could end any faster, they have something nothing to say about that as they look to speed run this final round.
I mean, you feel these three operators for Zero Remorse need to come out relatively soon. I mean, the Gunny's just not getting the job done. Claw, Annihilator pulled out respectively for Disciples, Pancake, Coldest, just continuing on with their ever so devious ways that we saw at that B-bomb site on firing range. And Coldest is taking this all the way past the hay bales, back grandmas. They're watching them spawn, Bobby, and they're making sure they're still in the dirt.
It's just getting real ugly real fast. Let's be honest, it's been ugly for a while right now. It gets uglier and uglier. Hope with 22 on the board. He has been slicing through the map so far in this one, trying to take players out, but all they're seeing are dead bodies from their teammates. Kato not going to be able to pick that one up, but it's 25-6. And right now, it is once again a matter of time for Zero Remorse, as it looks like they're going to have a swift trip to the lower bracket off the backs of this one. 4 lives remain right here. Death Machine, can it win you a gunfight? Sparta, congratulations. That 7th kill on the board. And Dreamville able to dodge the goose egg, but it's streaks and operators for days. And this is about an easiest spot as you're going to get in ESL Masters if your team Disciples. 21-0 in the final round. No execution to be found, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
What? Wait. Oh, wait.
Ice him out!
Oh, no. Oh, no. He's getting the melee kills. They get on the objective. Can they find the execution? That button's so tough to... Oh, no. No, Hope! Why?
That's messed up.
Oh,
no
they finally
way.
got it. Oh, pain. All right, well, congratulations, Disciples. You didn't get a whole lot of a challenge, but you've locked yourself in a spot in ESL Masters Challenge stage.
I don't really know what else to say. I mean, yes, Bobby just framed it up perfectly. I mean, you got it done in a flashy way possible, and then Hope just ripped it away from you. So, pain.
Listen, we got a new team in the challenge season, okay? And I guarantee you, I can say unequivocally, the next match will be nothing like that. But before we get into it, we'll talk back through some of these highlights here, Proper.
Yeah, you know, it's all barring some just funny semantics aside. I really just got to give my flowers to some of these Disciple players. It's just the way that they were kind of manipulating the map continuously. One player does kind of scream out to me more than anything, and that was Hope. Ever since the opening rip on Arsenal, it was a continuation to see how Hope kind of manipulates the map and all the different fixtures that were available in this 3-map best of 5 series. Just always trying to find the different angles of attack, making sure that they favor their life, putting themselves in further favorable positions to take better gunfights. And then when they had the abilities, the operators, the streaks to use them, it was always for the best. And I wanted to give Hope further flowers until I just remembered that he was the one that took away the assassination. So all of that just got taken away.
That's fair. That's fair. Official analysis. I appreciate that. Well, match number 1 in the books, like you guys said, Disciples 3-0 Zero Remorse. Zero Remorse isn't done. They just dropped down. So, okay, they still have another chance in the lower bracket. We'll take a look at the bracket so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, after this first match, we'll see everything reflected here. And you see that Disciples, the first team that makes their way through, Zero Remorse will now be playing whoever wins the battle between Roasted Squad and Team NBA. So we'll have to see who ends up making their way through on that. But for now, our first match has concluded, and 1 out of 8 spots, only 7 left in the challenge, have been claimed. So that was a quick start to the day, but the rest of the day, I guarantee you, is going to get even more chaotic, because right around the corner, Bobby, do you know what's coming right around the corner?
LG versus Tribe.
I feel like if you are home and you've been waiting for the marquee match of the day, the title match of the day, this is going to be it. LG versus Tribe. Whoever wins automatically through. Whoever doesn't gets knocked down into that lower bracket next, where they'll have to go up against whoever wins one of those first lower bracket round of 8 games in the bottom half. Either way, this is going to be a really good preview of what you can expect heading into the challenge season. These are obviously two teams we talked about for the entire top of the show. These are teams that probably both going to make their way through. I'm not really worried about saying that. And then we're going to be tracking them the majority of the challenge season, as they will be at the top of the top the entire time. So this is going to be a really, really fun match for you to tune in for. Regardless of who takes this one home, it's going to be really exciting. So make sure you're sticking around for that. Obviously, before that, make sure you're following us on social media if you can't make it to this match, so you don't miss the outcome. And before we get into the LG versus Tribe match to determine which team makes their way through to the challenge season, we're going to send it to a short break. But our massive marquee match when we return. Don't go anywhere.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where match number 2 in our open finals for Call of Duty Mobile in NA is about to get underway, and this is going to be one of the best matches of the day. We've got LG versus Tribe, and this is going to be exciting. Before we get into it, we're going to take a look back at the bracket, because during that break, a couple of our matches did conclude, so we have some updates for you on those off-stream matches, because remember I said at the top of the show, we've got so much action going on here today that there will be matches that that happen off stream that we aren't going to be talking over. And when those results come through, we will make sure to have them ready to go for you guys so you can stay updated on what teams are pushing through the competition, which ones are falling out. When that bracket's ready, we'll get it pulled up here in just a second. Bobby, Proper, I got to ask your thoughts first, Bobby. So Proper, I'm going to go to you. How are you feeling about this LG versus Tribe match?
I mean, how can you not be excited about it? I mean, this is a grand finals match for a qualification spot just to move over towards the next stage, right? And here's at least some of the updates for us as well. We saw Goofy Goovers, at least off stream, they were able to beat Bot Terminators. So Goofy Goofers, welcome to the next part of the entirety of SPS. But I mean, LG and Tribe, like, listen, like, this is, if you're a COD Mobile fan, North America, European, I don't care where you are in the world, you're licking your lips at this one.
Yeah, this is going to be super exciting. Obviously, like you're saying, Proper, that means Bot Terminators drops down to that lower bracket, second round of 8, and then Wrath moves through against Last Minute. So that will be another squad we'll be watching or talking about a little bit later on as we get more results coming through. For now, we're looking at that fourth match in the top portion of the upper bracket, LG versus Tribe. We get to talk about them. We'll look at their rosters. I'm excited for this one because, like I said, Bobby, I feel like this is going to be a really good example of the level of competition we can expect through the challenge season once we make our way there.
Yeah, and I think even with how established these teams are, there's still question marks around who the starting players are going to be on each of these rosters. Obviously, in the group stages, we saw a completely different LG team with Tectonic getting subbed out for Marshy, and we've seen different iterations of this roster as well. We've seen Envy on the bench. We've obviously seen Tech on the bench. We've seen Marshy on the bench. There's no real way of knowing who to expect, not only here, but what's really going to be their established roster for World Championships as well. And it's been a little bit of the same for Tribe, as obviously they swapped out 2 of the players that have been with them for quite a while, and picked up 2 super solid players in Rihan and S-Thug, who are both one in AR and one in SMG. So a lot of changing that can happen right there, and I'm curious to see what roster they're going to throw at it, as this is obviously one of the higher stakes matches that they will play, not only today but in the past couple of months.
All right, any thoughts on these rosters here, Proper?
Well, I mean, I just want to see how these roster changes are going to potentially either benefit them to maybe try to get a little bit closer to Luminosity, right? Because, I mean, we've already talked about it at the pre-show. Every single time Tribe, as far as a brand is concerned, has taken on Luminosity, barring all the way back in Raleigh almost a year ago as far as brands are concerned, it hasn't been close at all. I mean, maps have been taken away, some hard points close, surely, but in S&D is where a lot of eyes are going to be set in place. You can maybe take a respawn off of this LG roster, but if you can't get the job done in Search and Destroy, the likelihood of you taking a series, let alone a championship off of them, it's not likely.
All right, well, we'll have to see what they can bring to the table. Obviously, both of our regions had insane roster mania heading into season 4 of SPS, so that always does shake things up just a little bit, but it is also the mark of a lot of these teams that find themselves at the top that are able to kind of handle those roster changes and still mesh with a new crew, all the skill levels being so high across the board. So I'm excited to see what both of these teams can do. It goes back to my question earlier from the pre-show when it comes to us talking about those top 3 teams. Will there be a new number 1? Will it all just be super kind of close and even? Who's going to end up eventually taking those spots all the way through to the final stage of the competition? Because you know that's where all of these teams want to be. They want to be pushing through all the way to Masters and competing there on that global stage against the other teams that were best in their region. So there's lots of on the minds of these players outside of just making it through to challenge season, because of how long the overall competitive season is for SPS and Call of Duty Mobile. But as we are waiting for these map vetoes to come through from our teams here, will we get any S&D variation? Hardpoint is coming through first here, Proper. We got it, Bobby!
Whoever banned firing range. Thank you. That is all I wanted. Oh my goodness. I'm excited. Apocalypse Hardpoint is one that we don't really get to see a ton in the rotation either, so that's one that I'm very curious to see. Obviously, the Hacienda's no surprise, but Slums is not one that's been super common in the North American region either. It's one that can build momentum and snowball out of hand very quickly, and then obviously Raid, there were some question marks around it for LG in the group stages, but absolutely were not there whenever it came to the Raid control in the playoffs. So I would imagine that's one that they're going to feel pretty comfortable on. But Slums, once again, if you start to gain some momentum right there, it can definitely snowball in your favor quickly. That's one I think that Tribe are going to look to capitalize on, because if we get to the meltdown, I don't see a way that LG give that up.
First two maps are so SMG dependent. It's actually absurd. I mean, Apocalypse and Slums both have just the utmost amount of buildings and fixtures and timings available for these SMGs to get in the most annoying spots possible to help their ARs to be able to get in these very dominant positions where they can overwatch a lot of these plays, anchor out spawns when required for the APOC hardpoint, and get bombs planted and hold those post plants when it comes down to the Slums.
This is exciting. This is really exciting. And this is what I mentioned earlier too. When you get to the challenge stage, you have to be a team that's going to be able to have lots of maps in your map pool available to you to do well on in the event that maybe your first choice gets banned out. That's just always something you have to have ready to go. And now we're starting to see it. Of course, it comes in when it's LG versus Tribe. We can't be that surprised, but this is going to be even more fun to watch now as we're waiting for our teams to get themselves loaded into the lobby. Give me your predictions here. This is the first time I'm going to ask you for official hard set predictions. Bobby, go first.
This is tough. I think I would be, I don't know. You have to pick LG. You have to pick LG. It's just a question of how many maps they're going to be able to take, them being Tribe. I would say probably realistically maybe a 3-1. I think there's a possibility that Tribe take the Apocalypse, but imagining that the Slums is a Tribe map pick, even with that being the case, I think especially if Tectonic's in the rotation, his sniper presence has just been so dominant for LG that it's going to be really tough for Tribe to find a response. I think Tribe can be competitive on the Slums, but if I had to guess, probably a 3-1 with potentially Tribe taking that map number 1.
Okay. Proper.
I don't normally do predictions, but I'm a man of facts, and I mean, all the facts and numbers immediately point to that there's something in the air here in North Carolina, because me and Bobby agree on this as well. It's going to be a 3-1 at most. I can maybe see the Apocalypse hardpoint kind of slipping away. Maybe you can get lucky in the raid control. Probably not. But if there's one position where you can find yourself in to maybe catch them off guard with a new roster situation for Tribe, it's probably going to have to be the Apocalypse. Maybe you can ride the momentum, but Search and Destroy is just such a game mode where you have to rely on all of your teammates to not necessarily always do the right thing, but to be able to have that blind faith in one another. It's very tough to be able to do that when you go through a roster change, what Tribe already saw, but I'd be a foolish man if I didn't say LG was taking this.
All right, chat, let us know your thoughts as well, because it's ready to go.
All right, we are underway here, and it is going to be Tribe with strong side, so likely meaning that it is the LG map pick to get things started, and they come out guns blazing. It's a whole lot of yellow in the feed, and no surprise, Band off to a hot start. Fennec in hand, Tectonic locking down the bottom side, but he does get taken down. S-Thug in space find a couple, but LG with some dominant map control off the start, even with that weaker side position. Obviously, priority number 1 for Tribe is maintaining those top side spawns, but at some point you got to make your way into the hard point and contest, because it's not really going to be worth it if you can get a full 60, giving up a full 60 as a result.
I don't think people are you can't overestimate just how powerful a position that you just had there for Envy. That's essentially cutting past the middle of the map, and that's what you saw at least a couple players spawn a little bit past towards the turtle statue. But I mean, nonetheless, this is your all-in if you are Tribe. You are allowing Luminosity to gain 40 points on P1 to try to hold these spawns over towards P2, and just before P2 even pops, Envy, they push through ruins, they've already broken up the spawns, and now they're going to turn scrap into initial.
Yep, beautifully played by LG off the start right here, and especially with that being with them on the weak side, the fact that they're able to flip it and the timing that they are is not a good sign for Tribe at all. Interestingly enough, we got Washi rocking with the ASM-10. It's not something we've seen at all in SPS Masters so far, but definitely more of an SMG-like AR and something that could potentially work out better on a map like Apocalypse. We'll see what they can do right here, but no pushes for Tribe have come remotely close to breaking through this front line. Tectonic only 2 kills on the board, but getting a lot of assists in hand right there to open things up for the rest of the players, and Band picks up yet another kill right there. Luminosity, a shockingly big gap off the start of this one.
I mean, but Tribe kind of dug themselves into this hole. This is Apocalypse 101. You can't just all in for P2 and expect it to go your way with how fast spawns could flip on Apocalypse. And now they're forced just to chalky. You can't afford to try to fight for scrap time because now you need to go in all the way over by the Fallen Chopper for P3, and it has gone from worse to even disastrous, Bobby. Luminosity have cut through the middle of the map. They already got players in a position to try to get in here for P3. Luckily enough for Tribe, you had players north to south over on the west side of the map to at least marginalize the positional advantage that Luminosity once held. You just got to make sure you get somebody on this time.
It looks like Solo finally starting to heat up. He's somebody you expect to be a leader on this squad, and also arguably their most dominant SMG. So for him to only have 4 kills through the first set of rotations, not a great sign. Banned from the high ground, Purifier in hand. Gonna be able to shut down one. Looking for the second. He'll find that as well, and that should be a full clear for Luminosity as they're once again back in the driver's seat, and doing it in not a very merciful way as they now sit up nearly 70 points on this Tribe Gaming squad. I wish that I could take back my prediction because it doesn't seem like Apocalypse is the map to bet against Luminosity based on what we're seeing right now.
No, you're right. I don't know what else you want me to say, man. You're right. The Luminosity are just looking absolutely ferocious. As we rotate on over towards P4, just outside the chicken coop. Band up top with the Fennec, just trying to keep these players at bay. And all he's doing right now, not to mention just baiting out and getting these spawns for his team, but he's pulling so many different numbers that were once there for Tribe just to have to clear Band out, because that was the rotation that you needed to maybe try to get on in. It is a party in the chicken coop, and I don't know how many players can fit inside that small building, but it's working out wonderfully for Luminosity. 30 seconds left here on 4.
And it's just so many solo chells for Tribe. It's obviously not going to stand against the wall that LG has built. One player finally sneaks through, but instantly traded out time and time again. Tribe just fighting for scraps at this point, and they get shut down anyway. Tectonic is there, hopping right back on the point. He's got a 5 spree to work with, and building toward that Pred missile is once again Luminosity build, and a 100-point lead coming out of that first set of hard points is a nice spot to be. They'll look to see if they can flip spawns as well to give themselves even more of an advantage.
All right. I mean, you almost feel like it's inevitability at this point. This leader's advantage is fierce, to say the least. As we go back towards the center of the map, Luminosity, we're staring down through the middle of it all. And Tribe once had these closer spawns just around maps. They're forced to reposition themselves out from ruins and trying to retake this position. There's so much high ground to fight over here, Bobby, and Tribe are understanding that. You just have to also find the gunfights in the middle of the map. Space delivers on at least one, but the numbers just so close by for Luminosity to try to threaten this, and they have so much time to play with a 100-point lead.
And this has been a much better P1 for Tribe. As you can see, they keep that temple side of the map locked down. And it looks like they're going to be able to maintain control of these spawns. Yeah, maybe you give away 15 seconds, but you definitely got the better chunk of the time on P1 as well. And if they can maintain topside control, it could very well be a different story. This is a map that can snowball very quickly, and one good chain could very well earn you 100, if not more. Right now, Tribe looking to capitalize on the momentum they've been able to build off of that P1 setup, and they'll look to do so right here, but some of that utility starts to come out for LG. Pred's gonna drop for S-Thug, takes out Washi, and Rabalo's there, one of the better War Machine players you'll find, but the spawns flip out, and just like that, Tribe scrambled to shut down the push out of LG. S-Thug is there, and that's a big Sparrow.
It is a massive Sparrow to come all the way through space. Also there to take down Envy and towards the back. Keep in mind you, there are still temple spawns you have to be worried about for Luminosity. But Tribe reading this, talk about just a flip of the switch. They understood that those spawns were coming through just so damn quickly that they had to send all the focus over towards pallets and deal with these players from Luminosity that were swarming in towards the back. The break will come through regardless, even marginally so. But we're down to scrap time for Luminosity. Every single second that LG get over Tribe's head is just another small dagger in towards the back of Tribe. They're 2 points shy of getting over triple digits, but at least they have the rotation to new.
And this time, Tribe get the better setup over toward P3. They've got to deal with Vega in the top side, but Pre-Fire connects for Solo, and he plays his life well right there. So it looks like they'll be able to hold the line for now. Envy's got to be dealt with, and he is. Washi breaks through the top side. ASM-10 in hand, and he is cooking with it. Ridiculous time to kill on that Branson barrel. And now Vague wrapping back to the top side, trying to find something, is able to take one as LG find a way to break in regardless.
Yep. Flip out the spawns. Got one player left. Dealt with in kind. 196 should be 200 points here sometime soon. Even trying to slide out from top maps, it is all for naught. Tribe have finally gotten over triple digits, but Luminosity have felt like they've been there since yesterday. 206, and they're going to get the rest of the scrap time you'd feel, unless Tribe with these flip spawns have any arguments to try to say anything against it. But they are forced to play for new. I mean, you have to play for every single full 60 you can possibly find, and going over towards this broken down statue P4 hardpoint, Bobby, it is so much easier said than done.
And the nice thing about the position Tribe are playing is you can try to fight LG off of this hard point while maintaining spawns as well. So they're able to take away a couple seconds of scrap. One player set up in that top side of the building, but Washi's going to connect, Annihilator in hand, and suddenly the feed goes yellow as one player left to hold the line, and Tribe just don't stand a chance against the LG push. Two operators going to pop here as well. Washi going to lose the Annihilator, but still Envy continues to zone things out with the War Machine in hand. He'll find yet another kill right there, and he takes out that equalizer. Nice little beam with the Grau as well. And Jez, the last hope, he's going to get taken down right there. LG get back on the hard point and look like they're in position to go ahead and win this one here.
Yep, they are clearly in the driver's seat. You're forced to flood all the way through Chicken Coop, and if you can tell by the camera, my voice, these are narrow choke points that you're just kind of waltzing your way through. Finally, someone gets all the way through. With the help of Jez in space, Solo can get on the hill, but this leader's advantage is just too far gone. LG just need one more break. 3 whole seconds are all that are required for them to put this one to rest. All that said, Tribe, they're able to get the scrap time, setting up back through the middle of the map. P1 will pop once again.
Ban finds a couple, and it looks like LG are in a spot where they should be able to get at least a couple seconds back there on P1. They do that indeed, and it is a 121-point win on map number 1. We thought that one might be the close one, and it certainly showed out not to be the case. Now Tribe set their eyes on a must-have map 2 as we get ready to head into Slum Search and Destroy.
Not exactly fair, was it, Bobby? The way that Tribe just kind of gave up all of that insurmountable lead. I mean, by the time you were done with P2 in the first set, it was already like 82 to maybe 7 or 9. Like, you just cannot afford to do that if you're Tribe. I mean, fundamentally, I see where they were cooking, but that was a dish that just did not need to go to the dining room table. Let me tell you, they gave up everything on P1, expecting for P2 to be a good one for them. Luminosity said, hold my apple juice. We got SMGs just bait and switching all the way through ruins, and good golly me, that was just not just good hardpoint being exemplified by Tribe Gaming, albeit they started to pull things back in the second set, but the slaying was just too far gone. This is essentially going to be a banned highlight reel, just always in the mix of it. Had so much AR assistance, just overwatching all of the plays just to break into these hard points continuously. Luminosity never felt like they gave up the steering wheel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They put they put it in 5th gear the whole way through, and once again did not let up. I think especially you just look at the way that they played P1. They got the better chunk of the time, and the time that even when it looked like they weren't in control, they flipped the spawns exactly when they needed to, and were just completely downhill from there. Envy 35 and 21. Quite a score to put up, and it's pretty even contributions across the board on the objective, as obviously Tribe really struggled to get on. And S-Thug, one of the newer players on this Tribe roster, doing his best at 26 and 26. The rest of the squad going negative. And Robalo's been one of the players that we've had a lot of question marks basically ever since playoffs. During the group stages was so dominant for Tribe, was consistently putting up a 1.5 with 2.5 minutes in the hard point, but just hasn't quite looked like himself recently, and continued to be the case there, going 16 and 30 with only 50 seconds in the hard point.
And had 62 engagements. 62 engagements. Like, that is actually absurd with how many gunfights this guy was taking across the map. I guess that's what you get when you have AR players on your team that are just overwatching everything that you're doing, and you just have the lay of the land on Apocalypse to just maneuver all those different fixtures that are available to you. It just always felt like that Band was always in the position to maybe try to find some early damage, get the first pick, and then the rest of his team was certainly following suit. So now the road to potentially take a best of 5 versus this LG super team that we've had on our table for quite some time now, Bobby, becomes a little bit scarier, considering that it's Search and Destroy on Slums on the horizon for us here.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that LG actually struggled with in Stage 4 playoffs, is they take Tectonic out of the rotation. He's your main sniper, and they just look pretty lost in the S&D, but you got to think with him back in here, obviously we expect for their respawns to suffer a little bit whenever Marshy's not in there, but that was certainly not the case either, as they pretty much ran the map on that Apocalypse. So we'll see what Tribe can bring to the table right here. S-Thug shots across, not going to be able to connect. 1-for-1 trades off the start. Tectonic finds one, Envy finds another. Jez pushed up, able to trade out Vague, and it's a 2v2 early here in the Slums S&D.
I mean, that was just a bloodbath over by Alt. Bomb's going to get picked up and planted here at B. You can immediately see that S-Thug is trying to play with the idea that someone's flanking. He'd be right. Washi's on his way.
Nice little flank right here. Opportunity for a 1v2. S-Thug spots him out, and just like that, it's a 1v1. Tectonic on the flip side. He's got a Fennec and a Locust. He reads it, but can't quite connect. And it looks like S-Thug's going to give him some real estate right here as Tech now gets pushed up. And he's going to make the full flank through. And my gosh, did he make that look easy. S-Thug caught with his hands down. And my gosh, Tectonic clears things out to take round 1.
It's just so tough when you're in that situation, right? In a 1v1, you already know that Tech is on the bomb, and you just have to continuously try to slide and peek it just to make sure that he's not sticking the defuse, because, I mean, hey, these are pro COD-M players. Pros don't fake, Bobby. Luminosity going to take that first round off the bloodbath across that B bomb site. What does Tribe do to answer back in the openings of this round?
Oh, and they're going to get aggressive right here. It does not pay off. They lose 2 off the start. S-Thug going to find 1, make it 2, and he single-handedly equalizes with 4 kills on the board for himself. Space not going to give up any real estate toward Bricks, and he catches Band trying to slip through. Plant's going to go down right here on B. And now Tribe in position to close out the round. LG boys way pushed back with no real information to work with. And it's likely going to require an opening pick for Tectonic to find something right here. But Space is right on the other side of the wall. He's not going to make the read, and he finds the second one as well. That's a nice clean 2-piece to tie things up.
It's the little things in life that always makes it feel like Christmas morning, doesn't it? I mean, just laying down on his belly, just expecting for the challenge to come through from Tech, which it absolutely did, but getting the better of the crosshair placement, not looking down. Beautiful answer for Tribe, taking the fight across middle of the map previously to where they took the fight across B. The Luminosity have already cut past mid-map, by the way. They are upset with the previous round.
Whoa. Okay, 3 fast kills for Tribe as everybody drops on both sides. An early 2v2. Tectonic playing his life, and Band losing that gunfight, surprisingly enough. Tectonic can't connect with the Deagle, so now he waits. Does get the hit marker through the bottom of the bomb site. But all that's going to be is information, but the Deagle's there to connect. He does not miss those, but there he is, Space. AR in hand to shut things down, and back-to-back clutches out of him will earn Tribe Gaming the lead.
Yeah. Again, it's this bloodbath through the middle of the map, and albeit LG, we're gunning the better of Tribe as far as the gunning is concerned in the middle of the map, but equalized immediately by Tribe. Losing the first, bounce back on the next 2. Space He's looking wider for the angle. Doesn't find that first pick. Still all 10 players alive. LG have essentially allowed Tribe to maneuver past the middle of the map and get this bomb planted early at B.
Ooh, Jez getting aggressive right there, hopping up over the heady. He's going to be able to take down Envy. One for Rabalo as well. Washi there for the trade. But Tribe maintained this position. Jez has got to be dealt with, and he's not giving up this angle. Another easy kill for him right there. The LG boys forced completely back on the defensive side. Another one picked down, and wow, solo. A clean two-piece right there as Tribe now extend out the lead and making the offensive side look like a piece of cake right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to Slum Search and Destroy, I will tell you this much. That's why LG are just so quickly to have to try to fight through mid. You just can't allow all of that map control to go over to the offensive team and get the bomb planted. They can dictate the pace from start to finish. This time around, a little bit of change of pace coming through from Tribe and kind of stalling out with that bomb a little bit closer towards the cemetery. Might be toying with the idea to try to get themselves over towards the A bomb, but it is the harder of the two sites to assault. As you can hear a pin drop as these snipes are attempting to try to connect from both of these two teams as the bomb now flips and move its way over towards B.
And LG's just taking no mid-map control and just allowing Jez to run wild. That CX-9 in hand, they get pushed back again. Another easy plant over on B. Space not going to read that one correctly, and Vague took a lot of shots to win that one, but comes out on top anyway. Envy does not read that one, and Washi can't connect, so a 2v2 right here is Vague. Looks to push through the mid-map. Might be able to catch one off guard. Rabalo's going to drop right there, and now down to Solo. He's going to play the backside of bricks right here and actually wrap through mid. It might have an angle onto this B bomb. Doesn't see the player directly next to him, and Washi's able to make him pay. And that, a lot of question marks around the approach on the retake for that round.
I'll give Solo a slight asterisk on it. I mean, again, you're in a 1v2. The likelihood of one player hopping the bomb, the other one overwatching him is just so high that he has to almost try to go gun the player on the bomb and extend the clock instead of trying to take the initial gunfight. So Luminosity finally break the mold off of 3 in a row from Tribe, and that was just from the stalwart in the middle of the map. Now we're back over towards this potential cemetery push that Tribe are starting to fish with. But again, it's Luminosity quick off the press, already past middle of the map, trying to keep the map back.
This is by far the best map control that we've seen, but Jez is going to make an adjustment right there, finds a first blood anyway. As that happens, LG pick a couple, and it's been pretty even lives all the way through. Despite how quickly the players have dropped, it's just been Tribe executing better in the later side of these rounds. Jez going to be able to pick up the bomb. But the Tribe players now forced back. Very solid map control for LG. Tech's going to read one as he takes down Jez, and Ban pushing up. Should have an angle onto Space. Nasty little peekers angle right there, but Space able to connect on the quick scope. Tectonic doesn't see him and can't quite make the shot happen. The bomb has not yet been retrieved in a very awkward spot, and that's going to make this that much more difficult for Tribe.
Tectonic and Washi just going to double up their affairs, just potentially try to play retake as Space and S-Thug, as you were talking about, have to go on a full recovery mission. They have the time to do it. And as Washi and Tectonic were mostly gathered up around the statue, they split both of these lanes. Washi's going to get the better of Space, wallbang included. Leaves S-Thug in a damn near impossible situation as the bomb again is down just outside of this front gate of the car shop. And he might just try to fish through a timing in the middle of the map. This round is all but lost.
Yeah, 18 seconds remain. He's got to make quick work of this. And with LG back in the positions that they're in, I don't think they're going to afford him that opportunity. Washi makes the read, and that's LG tying things up as we flip sides. Obviously, this is a map that can snowball one direction or another, depending on how comfortable a team feels on the offensive side. So we'll see if we see a similar approach with that aggressive B push out of the LG boys. Obviously, map control in the mid-map going to be a must. Washi not going to be able to pick anybody early right there, and Ban not going to look to get aggressive off the start. So a bit of a stalemate here to get things started as the utility is not going to connect, and now a bit of a waiting game as the snipers start to look for picks. Fortunately for LG, Vega's there, and the nade's going to be able to find them first blood.
Envy Vague did take a certain amount of damage from a frag grenade on the opposite side of Try, but one landing a little bit closer to the lap, as you can already tell. Jez first blooded. And now this positioning from what was Washi and Band off the rip over by Broken is starting to come through fruition. They're going to start rushing all the way through. And I don't think that Tribe were expecting this. Surely not. There was one player that might have been able to upset it. It was Solo, but wonderful execution from LG to take this A bomb.
I literally cannot remember the last time that I saw an A push on Slums to start an offensive side, but it works perfectly for LG as they clean things up, and I think only lose one player in the process. The utility was just so well used right there, and Tribe didn't even know what was happening until it had already hit them. What a start for LG right here. We'll see if we see a similar look. It seems like they've got a lot in their bag for the offensive side. Washi going to back up right here, not trying to get too overly aggressive. And we once again wait for those picks to come through on the backs of the snipers.
It's cooked up. Not landing, not getting any information. And now Luminosity, more or less, you feel like are trapped on this side of the map in between Mechanics and Cemetery. So Band's going to take a further approach, much like he did previously. Getting up close to that wall, potentially playing for some audio cues in this jump peak to at least spot through mid. Could help out Vague, but you got to look all 4 different ways before you cross that street, my friend. First blood is found.
Nasty little hop-up spot for Solo, and he's going to be able to play this opposite angle, but it doesn't matter. Band reads it right there, just like that. It's LG taking back a life, still 2 players down. But Band getting cheeky right here. Will Space find the read and at least one spotted out? Envy can't connect over top of the bomb heady. And now LG forced back into spawn. Washi not being given any angles right here. And Jez gets the better of him. Band is there to take down Rabalo, but it's still Tribe with the man advantage. Jez now 10 kills on the board. He has been an absolute menace here in the Search and Destroy.
Look at the space that Band just took away by himself. Laying prone, going all the way down, pounces back up. Can't finish the kill on the Jez. That's uncharacteristic, but now he is on this side of the map. All the way over by green. Bomb's going to get planted. Envy's by himself, but Band is in no man's land, is going to go down. Now Envy 1v3 post-plant. Can't do much more about it. And that is the struggle, isn't it? You got Vague all the way up past Statue. He had no assistance as far as all these different angles. Over by White, over by B-Bomb to potentially see where some of these players from Tribe were located at. And it's just really good patience being showcased by Tribe. You don't want to give up that A-Bomb site, much like how it happened towards the latter half of the previous round. And they just wait for the push to come to them, just slowly chipping away at the numbers for LG. We remain even Stevens going into round 9.
And if Band finds that kill to open up the 3v2 into a 2v2, that could be a totally different story, but just not quite able to execute. And that opens a door for Tribe that they take immediately. Tectonic's looking to shut it in their face. 2 kills to open things up here. And that's going to be Vague finding another tech through the smoke. Connects over the bomb heady as well. And 25 seconds into the round, Space is all by his lonesome. Envy's going to get the bomb down on B, and you can expect LG to play this as clinically as can be. Space not going to be able to connect, and it is a flawless round there for LG as they retake the lead.
Yep, go back to a day 1 strategy, right? I mean, you expect for maybe a push through to come through over by the trucks past Cemetery. It never really happens much here in COD Mobile as far as Slums S&D is concerned, but I just love the initial overlook over by the B-Bomb site. I mean, the connection from the snipe from Tech is absolutely disgusting. He's now up to 10 eliminations in this Search and Destroy. And Luminosity, they're going to continue on with the aggression here, Bobby. They are rushing into A.
And Tribe find a way to counter right there. They pick up 3 kills off the start, but Tech is swapped into the growl, and he is cooking with it as he equalizes now into a 2v2. 12 kills on the board now for him. Jez forced back into their spawn point. The bomb is in hand for LG. So Envy's going to look to make a wrap back toward that B side, and they're clearing every possible angle in the process. We'll see what they go for right here as Tech feels content to make his move toward Garage, and Tribe kind of left guessing right here as neither team has an inkling as to the position of the other. And right now on the backside of that B site, it is going to be Jez, 10 kills to his name. Tech hoping for a God nade to connect, but I don't think anybody in position to receive it. And once again, clearing out all these tight angles to see if they can make their way onto that B site.
Well, the timing of all these different peaks could have been monumental. Jez is starting to throw some warning shots underneath the bomb, looking for some ankle. Not going to be able to find it. Bomb's going to be planted. And if Tribe are already frustrated that this is a 2v2, now they have to try to retake it.
Tech's going to continue to hold down that statue angle. Pre-fire from S-Thug can't connect, and with Jez dropping, looking like an impossible 1v2. They had all the information they could possibly need, just looking for an absolute ego shell of a lifetime to connect, but the LG boys are going to wrap back to the backside of this statue. He's able to find one, but perfectly played as LG Envy is there for the trade. And now Luminosity 1 round away from being up 2-0 in this series.
Tribe are going to be frustrated that that was even brought back to be a 2v2 after finding the opening 3 picks. And now Luminosity, as you pointed out, are up on map point, and they are not playing with their food. They have the Overwatch over by B. Tribe are trying to take this bomb site away, but can't find the first pick answered back. It's a 3v3.
Very quick starts to these rounds. It's instantaneous trades. And once again, it's not like they've been lopsided one direction or another. But the plays that LG have made once those trades happen have just been so tactical and so strategic that Tribe have not had much of an answer. And especially for a player like Solo, who's typically so dominant in the close range, to only have 4 kills on a map like this, very uncharacteristic. And LG have done a great job of countering him. Tech's going to pick up kill number 13, and now Space in a 1v3. Bomb going down, and I don't think he even caught the planter on the pallets beneath. And with only 40 seconds to execute right here, every shot has got to be perfect for him. And he's got to start to move more quickly than this. LG are not going to give you any more than you can reasonably afford for yourself. And he's going to see the feet down below. But once again, Envy has no reason to peek right there. Peeks his head over top. And this round's pretty much done and dusted.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're just hoping for a collide, and by the time you started playing a whack-a-mole with a player on the bomb of Envy, it's just not going to be enough. And as quick as decisive as these early rounds really were, the answer back continuously as far as trades are concerned for both these teams at a high level that Slums was being showcased. Just a little bit better from Luminosity, in my opinion. I mean, the fact that they were showing an A bomb push as early as they did on offense just immediately throws a monkey wrench into the entire system for if you are Tribe. You're forced to always have to have a player try to either watch that mid scoop, if not maybe trying to have a player in and around Broken to deny that A push from coming through. And albeit they finally did shut it down, you saw those 3 quick kills did come through. I want to say maybe like the 3rd offensive round that LG did have for themselves. It was immediately traded back, and that's the frustration I can only imagine from Tribe that you saw there in that final round 11, where they had to almost force their hand to get aggressive over by the B bomb site. LG ripped them asunder, and as close as it was all the way through the first half, LG just ran away with it in a 2-0 lead to boot.
And that's one of the tough things that just makes LG difficult to counter regardless of what team you are, because not only do they have such a wide map pool that they can choose from, but even when it comes to the S&D, when it comes to those bomb sites that are considered difficult to approach, they have these calculated set plays that most of these teams don't know how to respond to. And that 100% proved to be the case as they catch Tribe off guard to start the offense and absolutely ran away with things after that. Just so many well-calculated plays. Obviously, Tectonic leading the way. 13 kills on the board for him. Make it 14-6. So over a 2 KD on that map, and you can see very well why Tribe in Stage 4 playoffs looked like such a different S&D team when he was not in the mix. Obviously, Jez, really big impact in the first half of that one when they were on the offensive side, but wasn't quite able to do the same once they flipped over to defense.
That's absolutely right. I mean, it really did feel like a Tech highlight reel, didn't it? I mean, 14-6 is just absolutely absurd to find yourself in a search and destroy. The snipes were on point, and then you also bring up just the flexibility that Tech has available for him, just bringing out the growl, pushing over past the A bomb site itself, and just pinching Tribe continuously when it wasn't a fake out on a lot of those offensive rounds. It's just got to be frustrating. I mean, I'm just a commentator and an analyst over here, and I'm watching this from Tribe's perspective and how frustrating it must be just to almost play the guessing game on who's sniping, how many snipes we're going up against, where is Tech located at, and by the time you finally ask yourself the 3rd time where Tech might be located at, you might be on the flank, or your head might get ripped off via the sniper rifle.
And that's the thing about the way they play S&D. None of it is responsive. They know what their game plan is going to be heading into every round. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but they're able to throw a different look every time around, and it makes them so difficult to read because what they're doing is not dependent on what the other team wants them to do. It's depending on how they want to approach the round. So Tribe now head into a control on raid that LG have looked pretty strong on in the past. Obviously, this has been in the control map pool for a while, so it's not really anything new for either of these teams. But with the momentum that LG have right now, it's going to take a pretty big regain out of a couple of these Tribe players. Once again, Raballo not really living up to the expectations that we would typically have for him, and he's got to step things up and have an impact for them. Got to try to control more of that mid-map and see if he can maybe find some avenues into Kitchen to open up some opportunities for the ARs to clear away on the objective. But man, really big struggles for LG. Obviously, they're keeping the maps close wherever they can, but we said coming into this year, this LG team is the closest thing to a super team that we've ever seen, and they continue to prove that point.
And could you imagine just after Raleigh Worlds last season when Tribe by Brand ended up winning and you're just like, hey, you guys want to form a super team? Nah, screw it. Let's mess around and find out. And so far they have won just about if they're competing in it, LG have won it. And it's just been absolutely just torture for so many different teams to potentially find an answer. And as you already said, I mean, this series has been a great depiction of just how close you can possibly get when it comes down to even hardpoint score or search and destroy rounds, sure, but are you going to be able to fully take a map? Can someone even slightly convincingly take advantage of this LG roster? So far, there's been little to no answer as to whether or not there is a team to do that. A lot of answers need to come through on this raid control. You already brought up a lot of good situations that Tribe might be able to put themselves in a position to maybe try to do that versus Luminosity. But I mean, it goes even just beyond the ARs from what we got to see manipulating the map on Apocalypse as well. We got to talk more about Band as well. Someone needs to try to step up and try to do what Band is doing on these maps for Tribe, if not just a little bit better. Otherwise, this is going to be a hot 3-0 and Tribe are going down the lower bracket.
It's going to be Tribe on the offense to start, which once again, just not a great sign for them. Washi Respawn sniping to get things started, but smokes across mid, going to cover any line of sight space. Grau in hand, going to be able to open things up, and to be honest, not a bad start for Tribe. 3 kills on the board, make it 4 as LG cannot seem to connect, and that's some strong B control as it is now 5 down for LG. They do not get a single kill off the break, and that should be an instantly guaranteed B cap for Tribe to get things started.
Yeah, you got to be careful whether or not you want to try to recontest this. I would reckon that you'd had to make that decision almost about 10-15 seconds ago. If you are Luminosity, you had players around Art, you had players push all the way inside a garage, but with losing that many lives as quickly as you did off the rip, that's immediately going to be 2 minutes on the board. Now Washi, sniper in hand, snaps over towards Rocks. If he finds that third, I think that my hair just might be ripped out of my scalp, but at least you bring back the life deficit just within 1 as Luminosity tried to set up for this full hold on A.
He had absolutely no business finding more than 1 kill right there, but that's why he's one of the most widely respected snipers in COD Mobile, and just like that, LG have equalized the lives. Envy's going to be able to get on a 4 spree and overlook onto this pool side, and Tribe are forced to completely reset, if not being put into a disadvantaged space there to trade out a couple, but he's going to get taken down as well. And now it's a 15v14 as Tribe look to make their way onto that A zone. Envy is going to continue to lock down that kitchen area, and until Tribe are able to take control of it, they're not going to have any type of a chance over on A, and Tectonic's going to make sure of it.
Jezza is kind of tiptoeing around this A zone around Tiki. That should force a lot of these different positions to be flushed out of your LG, but just because you flush him out from that positioning, especially over by the wheelbarrow window, Tech inside of money, you should be able to win the gunfights, you would assume, and Tribe are starting to find some semblance of that. Sure, they're keeping foot on the zone, so that's going to keep the clock stalled out at 1 minute and 3 seconds. The first segment was locked in, but once the trades start coming through, it's LG that stand above it all. With no lives remaining for Tribe, they got to play this perfect.
Fake's going to wrap the corner right here. Nade in hand. Unfortunate timing for space. And once again, it's not a big gap, but time and time again, LG make the reads necessary to find the lead in the round, and it is going to be one player onto that B zone to get the capture, but not enough to do any more than that. Vague should have the read onto S-Thug, but not pre-ADS right there. And Tribe find a way to fight back right here, but they've still got to make their way through this front side. They can't win the gunfight. Now the final respawn right here is the 7v4 turns into a 5v4, an opportunity for Tribe to steal away around, but bad cheeky angle. On the inside of Tiki, the operators start to come out. Raballo finds one, but instantly traded, and it's a 3v2 with LG still having the advantage. One gets taken off of that objective, and it's all down to S-Thug in a 1v3. He gets traded out, and a heavy investment that could potentially cost Tribe later on.
I couldn't agree more, Bobby. I mean, you could see it just from Tribe Gaming's perspective, right? The cogwheel starting to turn. If I find more with this War Machine, after that first, that should have been the A zone captured. It would have been quite impactful, but now you just don't have that on the cards. We'll have to see how the LG want to try to respond to this. They have 4 operators on board. S-Thug and Solo for Tribe have theirs respectfully. Luminosity off the gates, already pushing up through driveway, leaving players lurking around Art. Needs some assistance for Vague around Ring, even if he needs it. Some warning shots at least coming through now from Envy, and the opening breakoff has been won by LG. They're starting that capture on B.
And in case you didn't catch it, multiple players on LG running the 12-round burst of the CX-9. Obviously very limiting, but the time to kill is absolutely ridiculous. They're going to be able to get the B zone captured early on. Have not yet dealt with the player top laundry, but man, the kill feed is looking super, super blue right now as the score streaks and operators start to come through. War Machine for Envy going to be able to find at least one right there. They get full kitchen control, and Washi is going to have absolute nightmares waiting for any Tribe player that looks to push on through. Envy's going to take out the last shot of the War Machine, and a 10-life early lead for LG here in round 2.
It's starting to look chalk now unless Tribe just bring this back. I mean, you have to find almost 8 unresponsive kills. Sparrow's going to be pulled out for Tectonic, and it's a 2-banger. That's a massive couple kills to find for yourself. Claw also invested here for Vague. Starting to push up at least past Kitchen. Player down low. Gets ripped a new one. And now you can start pushing past these basketball stairs. And things have gone from worse to disastrous. 21 plays up against 7. LG looking for a 2-0 lead in the control.
Vague's going to be able to reload back off. Solo there for the kill. But once again, lives have built up to a 13-life lead. You get maybe a purifier to go to waste right there, but Tribe just no opportunity, as you can't imagine a scenario where LG gives up an 11-life lead, 16 versus 6. And Vague's gonna leak through right here. I don't think Solo has the information, and with Ban pushing through on the top side, right now, somebody's going to have to make an impossible play for Tribe to wipe away this entire LG squad. They've done a good job. They've taken out a few in a row, but there's Vague finding one, and now no respawns remain. And with the smokes going across, they should be able to hop the objective and force a push through for Tribe. And with only 4 lives remaining, I don't see much of an avenue for them to take this round.
I mean, you feel like that you have to force the operators out, right? I mean, Jez maybe can find a couple good picks, perhaps, but I mean, the world is your oyster. You could just keep tiptoeing around this A zone, keep the clock stalled out. Now 3 versus 11. No response whatsoever. Jez Solo feel that you have to hold on to these operators to get the reverse sweep going into control. Second segment looking pretty damn good to get locked in. I mean, you try to challenge out, but that's just to nullify that second segment being captured. So I guess small consolation prizes maybe, but nonetheless, Luminosity looking unstoppable thus far.
Yep. Those 3 operators really the only hope for Tribe to maybe secure some early map control and force LG back to be able to find a way on over the A zone, but it looks like they're going to full send over to B once again. Vague does get dropped early on, but trades are there. Band takes down 2 before he gets traded out. And it looks like Washi's going to be there to shut down Solo, as once again, LG take the life advantage. Space wants to see what he can do with the Annihilator in hand. Jez going to be able to find 1, and Space gets instantly traded off the back of that one. And that's going to be a tough pill to swallow. Still 3 operators ready to go, but Tribe have just not been able to find the value out of those.
War Machine being pulled out by Raballo, and I mean, you just hope that there's something you could possibly find for this. I mean, the response for Luminosity losing B-Zone so early in the opening round here on the raid control was just to send 5 players over towards Ring. 1 goes through mid, and that forces Tribe to spawn parallel over towards A, albeit to find success on that first segment. Lives aren't too far gone. You're just hoping for some form of consistency. Washi, though, has a better thought about it, pulls out the Annihilator, rips 3 apart, and you still have players lurking over here if you are Tribe, but the rest spawning parallel over by Driveway, trying to get over towards that B zone and keep the clock stalled out.
And the life lead hasn't built too terribly badly, but as I say that, 4 players drop for Tribe. Jez going to be able to take down 1, but they've got to find better value out of these operators. That has been a pretty big bulk of the difference between these two teams, is what you've been able to find out of that utility you're able to build. In LG now up by 8 lives, and it continues to get worse and worse. Tribe have got to make their way onto one of these objectives. Time and time again, just losing those 1v1s. Rabalo's going to be able to find 1, but instantly traded. And that's the thing. LG, they might give you 1 gunny, but it's very rare that it will be without the back of a trade. And wow, Tribe get absolutely smoked out of that 3rd round and out of the series, as they'll head to the lower bracket, and LG will lock in a spot in our challenge season.
I mean, I think we can all agree that Luminosity was for sure going to take the series. I didn't think it was going to be as dominant as what was just displayed here in those 3 maps. I mean, some pushback in the search and destroy glitter, but this was all just an LG show to confirm that we'll be seeing them very soon.
I mean, it was impressive. We knew that this was going to be a good match. You guys both said that it was going to go the way of LG regardless, just thinking it would go 3-1. LG said, no, we want to just close this out as quickly as possible, secure that spot in the challenge season, and have one less thing to worry about for the rest of the night. They do just that. And I mean, like we said, potential preview of what we can expect out of LG now, looking forward, especially with a little bit of time between these open finals and the challenge season, as we take a look back at some of these highlights. Stand-up moments for you here, Bobby.
Oh, that double quickscope out of Washi was just juicy. If he had made it a 3rd one, that'd be one of the better clips that we've seen this year, not just in this Masters. So it was all Luminosity all the way through. Obviously, Tribe, very solid team. They're able to keep things close, but it's just so obvious how well put together this Luminosity team is, how calculated they are in their pushes, that the usage of their operators, and just at every turn looked, even if it wasn't a massive gap, just enough stronger to be able to deal with Tribe in a way that made it look like they weren't really even trying. And there's not really anybody you can point to on Tribe as, yeah, this guy's the reason they lost. Like, is pretty even kill disparity top to bottom. No surprise, Tectonic going triple positive right there, 20-6. That's just what he does. That's why he's the GOAT. And this is a guy that, yeah, we saw him subbed out in stage 4. I don't see that happening anytime soon again.
I mean, these are impressive numbers proper.
Yeah, I'll say, I mean, Tech through all 3 maps was that guy. I mean, if it was in the search and destroy, that it was emphatic. In the hard point as well, it was always that person. If the rotation was already being won by ban, Tectonic was that guy that was pushing a little bit further to make sure that the spawns were anchored out to make it an absolute blowout on the Apocalypse. And the control was just a accumulation of what we got in between both the search and the hard point. Obviously, Tectonic, those numbers make him look like a one-man army, but ultimately, LG are just that well-oiled machine that we have come to expect and have witnessed time and time again.
Yeah, it was really exciting to watch, but we'll take a look back at the bracket because we've had some of our off-stream matches also concluding, so we'll have even more results to show you guys at home. Obviously, LG moving through on the top end of our bracket, and it is Sane who actually also clinches that 4th spot in the challenge season, which means the upper bracket portion is now complete. Everyone has dropped down into that lower bracket second round of 8. Well, they'll just be waiting for any of those other teams to move through from the lower bracket round of 8, number 1, which did happen. You can see down there at the bottom, Mayhem 3-0'd LPZ Gaming, so they'll be facing off against Bot Terminators. And then we also had Truly 3-0ing. They'll be going up against the Goats, who lost to Sane. So lots of updates coming through here, and that means some more gameplay in action. But it also means there's only 4 more spots available for season 4 of the challenge season, and everyone's going to be battling it out. But while we're looking at that bracket, that means the next match we're going to be keeping our eyes on will be between Team Mayhem and Bot Terminators. Obviously, we touched on Team Mayhem a lot, so this should be exciting to get a chance to watch their gameplay. Before we get into match number 3 there, we're going to send it to a short break, so don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true, where everything you want can be yours, if and only if you're willing to work for them, you're willing to hurt for them.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where our Call of Duty Mobile in NA Open Finals are 50% of the way done. 4 teams have clinched their spot through to the challenge season, the next stage of the competition, and we are now setting our sights on match number 3 of the day, which is going to be between Team Mayhem and Bot Terminators. And I feel like this could be a little bit rough for Bot Terminators going up against Team Mayhem, Bobby.
If I had to guess, will likely be very reminiscent of what we saw yesterday between Mont and Squids. It's just an unfortunate result of the fact that Team Mayhem have ended up in the lower bracket. They had a little bit of a tougher road. Obviously, they did face a Tribe Gaming team who we just saw lose to LG. So it shows that any of these top teams are capable of taking down another on any given day, at least between Tribe and Mayhem, maybe not LG. But Bot Terminators, not really anybody I'm super familiar with. Maybe somebody that could pop off, but just with the amount of work that we've seen Team Mayhem put in, I mean, I've talked to the players, the managers that leading up to stage 4, putting in 8-9 hour days. It's just tough to think with the amount of work they put in, the amount of experience that they have, there's any scenario where they lose the series.
All right, well, now we're taking a look at the Team Mayhem roster, and tell me your thoughts on this squad here, Proper.
I mean, how many second and third places can you honestly have if you are Team Mayhem to not warrant the long work days that Bobby was just talking about, right? I mean, they've beaten LG 2-0 at least once in a completely different tournament, and at least you have that to hold your head high, I suppose. Don't have any VOD to overwatch that one, but it's still an accolade that a lot of people can't necessarily say that they've even taken maps off of LG. It always feels like it is second or third for Team Mayhem, and as Bobby had already stated, when we talk about the shark-infested waters that are most lower brackets, this is the shark. We found the shark. Team Mayhem are down here, so good luck, have fun trying to beat them.
Oh, I know it's going to be a tough road, and you know that Mayhem wants to make sure that they're in the challenge season alongside LG and Tribe and the rest of the crew. So we'll have to see how this goes, but it could be a little bit of a tough competition. We've got our map picks and bans coming through in that veto process as well, and we can start to see what our teams have chosen for themselves as we get things kicked off with the hard point, and we're back on the firing range yet again here, Bobby.
Yeah, so a hard point to get things started is a little bit interesting. If I had to guess, probably the map pick for this Mayhem squad. It's not one that we typically see slip through, and I think with how long this team's been playing it, it's one they're going to feel very familiar with. Firing Range Search and Destroy, I'm so excited. I've been waiting so long to get to watch one of these teams play it. It's been on my bucket list, so that's one I can't wait for.
I just feel like we never get to see Firing Range anymore. Like, it's just a map mode combination that is just such a staple to COD, and I just never get to see it anymore. I'm excited to see Summit, though, full stop. I think that this hardpoint is going to be very awesome to be able to see how Team Mayhem are actually looking on the map. Not necessarily as their gunnies. I think we know what we can expect from that, but also fundamentals as well. It's what I'm always going to keep an eye out for.
And, you know, we said it when we were going through EU as well. A lot of these teams having to go up against such heavy hitters early on in the competition. At the end of the day, they really have to kind of take it as a learning experience. There's so many things that they can learn from the experience. Players that have gone through this competition before, that have been at LANs, and that are really just bringing the best abilities to the table when it comes to the Snapdragon Pro Series. So we'll have to see how well they can hold out. But if Mayhem can take down the likes of Tribe and LG, regardless of what competition it's in any fashion, they are going to be a scary team to be reckoned with here. On chat, we're match number 3 throughout the day. Okay, we've been going through lots of matches off stream as well, but let us know your thoughts on the overall competition while you're hanging out. Tell us who you think could potentially even win the whole challenge season, because right now LG is looking a little bit strong. And you can also follow along with us on all of our social media platforms, on X, Insta, and Facebook, so you don't miss any of our updates for the upcoming challenge season for the rest of today, or just following along with what the rest of the SPS has going on. You can join our Discord, discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series, a great place to join the community and hang out with everyone who is also wanting to follow along with SPS, who's also into Call of Duty Mobile. Just join it, okay? We're going to be here for a long time once the challenge season starts, and I don't want to have to keep telling you. So get it done and hang out with us in there while we're waiting for this match to get ready and underway. Tell me your thoughts on the competition so far here, Proper.
I mean, North America always just delivers on the goods, right? I mean, we had what could potentially have been a grand finals matchup in our previous series, and we've also had some eye-opening experiences for some new faces and some new names. It's just always awesome to be able to see how North America is currently stacking up, especially with some different things on the horizon for some potential international competition. But the question will always remain, can anybody beat LG? That's what I'm here for. I'm trying to figure out the answers. I got no clues.
And Bobby, there's a couple teams that I think with the way the bracket has gone and will go, that will qualify through to challenge season that we won't get an opportunity to see until challenge season. So any recommendations for some of those teams that are going to be going up against the likes of the Tribes and the LGs and the Mayhems to really maybe hold their own in the upcoming challenge season?
You should play the game 24/7 because you have a lot of catching up to do. These guys have been playing COD Mobile a lot for the past 4 years. The guys that you're seeing at the top right now, it's not by accident. They're people that have been in the action since the very beginning. So it's at the end of the day, it's just going to take a lot of hours. I think there are teams that can most certainly contend. You got a team like Truly, who hopefully we'll get to see at the end of the day, who's put in a lot of work and is a team with a lot of young talent that I think could cause some issues for these older, more experienced teams. But between Tribe, between Mayhem, and between Luminosity, there's so much experience, not only just in COD Mobile, but on the world stage, in stage 4s, whatever it is. They've seen it all and they've experienced it, so they know what to expect. And it's at the end of the day, it's just going to take a lot of hours to be able to get to that level.
Yeah, I'm excited when we get to the challenge portion of the competition, where we'll start getting an opportunity to talk to the players after some of those matches, to talk to the coaches like we did last season, because I think that also gave a lot of insight into the time, the prep, the analysis that really goes into every single individual matchup for our teams when it comes to that challenge season, really nailing down each team's weaknesses and strengths, trying to figure out which map pools are going to work for which matchup. There's so much that goes into being at the top of your game, like Bobby's talking about, that it's a whole group effort. But match number 3 is finally ready to get underway. So, boys, let's kick this thing off.
All right. Getting things started right here. Team Mayhem looking to prove that they deserve a spot in the challenge series, in the challenge season, rather. And they are full steam ahead as they get players on the inside of the hard point early on. Cartel's tucked into a nice corner, CX9 in hand, and Blur's going to be able to find another one to shut down as he does get traded out right there. But Team Mayhem will find that top side control at the hands of Wrath, and he's going to hop down with the R9 in hand to find another. As there has been no response from the bot Terminators so far.
Oh, I mean, Dog was able to at least find one. That's really about it, isn't it? Team Mayhem. Look, I already said it. We know you got the gunnies, and it's going to start accumulating to a lot of time as well. I mean, are we about to see a full 50 seconds off of P1 on Summit, Bobby? I think we are, and split spawns are also being read. Good golly me, I did not know we just spawned into a blender.
And to be honest, like, the gunny's not looking horrendous for bot Terminators. It's just so much better for Team Mayhem. Their reads are better. Their positioning is better. Raph hit him with the movement right there. Not going to be able to find the kill. That's one he probably wishes he could have back. But fortunately for him, Cartels is going to be there on P2 and there to find the kill, make it 2, as Jesus Saves going to be there to reinforce the hard point. Score streak's already coming out. Doc is there to get the first seconds on the hard point for the bot Terminators. Blur not quite able to connect, but Team Mayhem looking to collapse from the outside. Streaks raining down from above, but bot Terminators keep the hard point locked in.
Hey, look at that. I mean, 50 seconds needs to be answered off the P1 that Mayhem were able to garner for themselves, but just because you were able to get there first and at least shave away the opening few gunfights doesn't mean that Jesus is not going to be right there to gun you where you previously stood. 68 points and counting up to the 16 that bot Terminators were able to get from themselves, and Kings is up top, just putting on an absolute clinic. Already up to 9 kills, 12 kills, plus the equalizer being called in here. This is just absolute decimation, just where bot Terminators finally got some footing. We have to start looking at the rotation over towards P3, towards that ski lift. We already have a handful of players for bot Terminators trying to go on the south side of the map, but it's easy reads once those players end up getting those Predator missiles, and they get absolutely exploded on the way through.
There's actually one player that slipped through the backsides for bot Terminators, but instead of anchoring spawns, he goes ahead and hops on the objective, and teammates would have loved for him to give him a little bit of assistance right there. Unfortunately for him, Team Mayhem keeps spawns locked in. Operators start to come out. Cartels did not see the player directly next to him, but he's going to stay alive somehow. Doesn't end up getting the kill, but now Kings pushed out the front side. Annihilator in hand. All the score streaks starting to come through for Team Mayhem. And as expected, absolutely running things here on P2 as well. Whoa, that range.
Sure. Oh, boy. What a time to be alive. Well, no longer for Cartels. Finally goes down. Fago gonna be able to at least find another one, but the R90 shotgun in the hand of Kings. Yeah, sure. Why not? Are you kidding me? It's just not fair. Rotation over towards P4. Bobby, I mean, you got at least one player from Bot Terminators that was there previously, but I mean, with how far back Blur is playing on the map, you think that spawns might be anchored, but it's just fuddling them into the R90 blender at the front of P4.
Yeah, it's about the worst possible time for spawns to flip for Bot Terminators. They're sent spawning across the map. Blur's got a War Machine in hand. He's going to do the opening damage as the Purifier does come through for Doc. He's able to find a 3-piece, but Cartels is there once again to find the trades. And the Pred missile drops from Kings as we saw one of the more disgusting feeds that we've seen so far in this SPS from him with that R9 that I believe he actually picked up from his teammate. He's still going with the LK as well. Jesus Save's going to be able to find a clean 2-piece right there. And Team Mayhem, as expected, running the map right now.
Yeah, that's and that was a very PR way of saying they're absolutely just decimating Bot Terminators right now. I'll keep it a $150 with you here, partner. There is just, woo, not a whole lot of semblance of control for Bot Terminators. I mean, they got a whole 24 points on the opening rotation here on Summit. Team Mayhem already threatening to be over 200 once P1 is about to pop in the second set. Kings is up to 26 kills. AO Ralph is up to 21. I mean, it is just an absolute clinic on Summit. And I thought people were supposed to come out here to have fun, to go skiing, but Team Mayhem are just absolutely belittling Bot Terminators.
And we've got a streak watch for Kings right now as he was on 12 kills last time we saw him. Blur pulling out the KN. He's turning and burning on anybody he can find. Nearly had a final one right there. Not going to be able to connect though. Kings pulls out the Annihilator. Still hasn't lost that streak. Gonna hop over, see if he can find a couple more. Sure, why not? I would have to think that's probably his third third Pred missile on this cycle, and he continues to keep on going. Blur from the top side trying to clear out this hard point. You got to think they're probably trying to find an opening for Kings to find those last couple of kills. He finds a 2 streak right there. 6 in a row for Raph as well. He's going to be able to sniff out one more. And Jesus gets a clearing through toward the backside toward P3. As right now Team Mayhem just cannot be stopped. There has been zero response from the Bot Terminators. I would love to see Cartel's POV to, or rather King's POV to see what type of streak he's on right now, because last time we checked, there it is, 17 in a row for him. Only 3 more needed for the nuke.
Untradeable. He's going for the nuke. Just stay out the hard point, Team Mayhem. Let's see if he can get it. 40 seconds left here on P2. Bot Terminators need all of that, plus an extra bag of chips, plus the rotation towards new, and an extra hot dog on the stand on the way through, but they get broken up so quickly. I mean, Raph thought about the idea of just stepping on the hard point, but we're just going after kills at this point. 229 plays to 42, and Team Mayhem are just putting on a good old victory lap.
I'm not sure if Kings has been taken down yet. If he hasn't, he should be on either 19 or 20. Haven't quite seen it in the feed here, but he finds a kill right there, and if he had not lost his streak, that should be enough to call in the nuke. Not exactly what you expect to see here in the Snapdragon Pro Series, but there it is. Team Mayhem with a big exclamation point here on map number 1. And Kings is going to do it to him. 44 kills on the board. He said, I'll call in a Pred just to make sure it goes ahead and ends right there. And if you're Bot Terminators, that's going to be a tough one to bounce back from.
Oh my God. There's just no way that just happened. There's an absolute way. We witnessed it, and it just comes through with Kings going on a Giga Chad spree. That is just absolutely absurd. Like, it's just funny because, like, both you and I know we were glued. The player number 1 for Mayhem is just like, we need to keep checking on this spree. And the moment that we didn't see the number pop up in the kill feed anymore, Oh man, we knew it was coming. I saw the nuclear symbol pop up underneath his name, and it just got a little grody as far as Summit is concerned. And to be fair, it started off gross. The midway point, gross. And by the third point, I don't think I ever want to go skiing ever again. That is disgusting.
Oh, and the way that it started too, it started with him picking up Raph's R9 and absolutely obliterating the entire squad on that rotation of P4. And after that, he was just having fun, absolutely going at it. It's not like he just sat around waiting for the kills either. Led the squad by a mile. That was the opening. Those 4 kills in a row. And obviously, Team Mayhem just having a good old time, and he picks up the nuke, the first that we've seen in Snapdragon Pro Series, not only in this season, but I think period. As it's I feel like I've said this at least 20 times at this point, but it's tough to put together a narrative where you can realistically think of a way that bot Terminators bounce back in the series. 44 and 4, 11 KD, 4 Kings.
Oh my God. It's cruel. It's unusual. This is ridiculous that we're getting a performance of this caliber being showcased. And yeah, I don't even want to know if I have to go check the books. In theory, I feel like that is the first nuke that we've seen in SPS overall. Oh man, I mean, there's only so much time in between maps 1 and 2 where you can stand up, take a drink of water, and just hit the fattest regain this side of the Mississippi, man, because that is just, I don't even know if there's a way that you even want to spawn in on map number 2, but you better.
I mean, on the bright side, it's not possible to get a nuke in search and destroy. So if you're bot Terminators, it can't get any worse. We are heading into a firing range, which, like we said earlier, it feels like we have seen a lot of 7-0s there. So maybe not the best sign for them, but it could also be due to the fact that a good number of these matches have been a little bit lopsided. And it's been the case here against bot Terminators. So as a bot myself, I appreciate Team Mayhem standing up for me and terminating the bot Terminators. Maybe we see a regain out of them. I think best case scenario, a regain looks like a 7-2 loss because you get nuked map 1. I think you got to chalk the whole series.
I mean, my mental is chalked for them, honestly. I watched all of that go down, and as fun as it was, we still have to load it in this map number 2, and bot Terminators, well, they're determined. I will say that much. They will try their best coming in towards this map number 2. As you say, God, Bobby, you're just always so optimistic, aren't you? Can't get a nuke here. We'll have to see how it pans out.
No, in COD Mobile, it's actually physically impossible because score streaks reset after every round. So even if somebody were to go 20-0, it is actually impossible to get a nuke. So that is the one thing that bot Terminators have going for them. I looked away from my screen for a second, and then the round was over as Mayhem take round 1.
How dare you blink? Don't do it again. I mean, it was all just the middle of the map. Who would have thought? Firing range. I feel like we live here at this point through the entire weekend. So keep in mind, that bot Terminators are going to need that bomb and try to assault towards the middle of the map and maybe try to shut things down. But just as soon as they have that thought process kind of go through their brain, Mayhem are right there, just shut it down.
Yep. It's they do manage to find a couple of picks. So we've seen other teams that have looked more hopeless on the firing range search and destroy. Like, don't get me wrong, bot Terminators able to find some opening picks, but now the 2 remaining players are hiding inside of this tiny little tin wall, and Jesus Saves just gonna put them out of their misery right there. 5 kills on the board, and Team Mayhem take round 2.
Jesus saved them of their previous life of round number 2. Yeah, for sure. Goodness. And potentially good night. Give me something here, bot Terminators. We need it. So far, they have just been belittled through the middle of the map. And it looks like Team Mayhem, instead of through the middle, they're just going to immediately send Raph past the A-bomb. He's not here alone. Jesus is here as well. Nobody's looking for the smoke push whatsoever. And, well, Team Mayhem are just letting them have it.
They do actually find a couple of kills right there, but Raph, once again, showing no mercy. Vengeance left all alone. You know, Diamond Machete at least looks cool, but what the... I don't know what the angle was that Kings found him from right there. Team Mayhem, speed run of a lifetime. Honestly, you know what? Not the speed run of a lifetime. They took their time and allowed their teammate to nuke, so they forfeited that title, and as a result, Bot Terminators get to avoid being put in another record book, but they're going to full send on over toward the B site. Nades actually connect right there, and they get the life advantage off the backs of this one. They got shotguns in hand. Unfortunately, going to be pushed down the barrel of the LK in the hands of Kings, and he is not your friend. One more needed. Fago's going to be able to drop him, but Cartels pushes on through, and that's now 4-0 for Team Mayhem.
I mean, how would you ever suspect that Kings would be your friend at all? Dude, he just dropped a nuke in map 1. I mean, oh God. They pushed over towards B. Nades, as you said, did connect, but just because you found those 2 picks doesn't mean that there's not a nasty head glitch just waiting for you in the middle. Blur opens things up immediately, sniping Vengeance where he previously stood via the wall bang. Opens up Jesus just to push inside a wood, and just where you thought that you might have some modicum of map control, you got to battle Jesus out of wood.
And once again, Bot Terminators have at bare minimum been able to find some opening frags, but they just really haven't been able to do anything with it. And I think the majority of it has had to do with the fact that Team Mayhem are just full sending up the middle of the map, doing anything they possibly can to end the rounds early. And they've done so successfully. Now 5-0 right here. Kings once again top fragging, 7 kills on the board, and showing a little bit of versatility as well, pulling out the sniper. Something we've seen him do a little bit more recently. Wildfire not going to be able to connect across mid right there, but smokes go down. And once again, a relatively calculated push out of Bot Terminators. The reads have just been better time and time again for Team Mayhem.
That'll be a 1v1 over by Banana in between Kings and Fago. And well, Kings does not end up expecting for the turn on the push. So that's going to be the B bomb site, at least taken. Numbers were there, at least ever so slightly, for Bot Terminators, as 2 more picks do come through off of Blur's pick over by the B bomb site. It's going to keep it honest, and just because it was honest doesn't mean that it's not disastrous and doubtful as it may be. First shotgun connects, but the second one not going to be there as Cartels puts it to rest. It's a 6-0 half, and 1 round is required for Team Mayhem to continue on with their DoorDash challenge.
Well, the Bot Terminators looking to terminate this game as quickly as they possibly can. Team Mayhem full send across mid. Wildfire's actually going to be able to find a pick right there, but it looks like nobody going to be here to contest over on that A site. Kings able to get an early plant. Cartel should have the audio cues on the 1 player inside a trailer. Fago and Doc looking to try to clutch up right here, but not in a position for a retake realistically. And right now, just wall banging everything they possibly can to try to end this round. Kings is going to be there for 1, Doc there for another, but Blur there on the trades. And that is going to be Team Mayhem cleaning things up. Whew. Speed running it. They're well on their way to Snapdragon Masters for the challenge season.
I mean, the map happened so fast, your lights weren't even turned on, brother. Like, that's just really just goes to show just how disastrous things can truly be. I mean, we've seen a lot of this. If you all at home did not watch anything to do with Europe, we are quite accustomed to some of these matches happening at the lower qualification match, let me tell you. Mayhem, again, as we have already been kind of framing up, to be in the lower bracket for 1 is tough with the loss that they had in the upper bracket. Must have been a good one, but nonetheless, this is the shark in the ever so shark infested waters, and although Bot Terminators found themselves in a position to maybe try to qualify, there is just a little bit of a skill gap in between these 2 teams.
A little bit?
I was being generous, Bobby. Look, if you're gonna be optimistic, let me be generous.
Canyon of a skill gap between these teams. I've got respect for Bot Terminators for making it as far as they did. And to be honest, that there may be some other teams in this lower bracket that they would have had a chance against. But Team Mayhem is just not one of these teams. They were top 4, made it to the playoffs in North America for a reason. They finished 2nd place in North America for a reason, and as expected, they're not a team that's going to mess around and play with their food, put them out of their misery very quickly. They're in the search and destroy. Got a feeling it will be the same case as we head into the control.
And it's on Raid as well. And if you thought that Summit was fun for all the different kills, sprees, and streaks alike, Raid's going to be just as fun. Let me tell you, all the different open avenues in between pillars, open staircase, art to kitchen. Golly, I'm excited to be able to see the numbers at the end of this screen from Mayhem. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, I want to try to be the optimistic analyst over here, Bobby, and say that bot terminators have an avenue, maybe a freeway to try to get themselves back in over here. But I don't even think that a freeway can stretch across the Grand Canyon to be able to get them back inside the series.
Yeah, I would love to see a great effort out of them. At the bare minimum, I'd probably like to see them not get nuked here as we head into map number 3. It doesn't sound like a high expectation, but based on what we saw in map 1, apparently it is. So Raid is a map that Team Mayhem's not unfamiliar with, and was probably one of the closest respawns that they were to actually taking a map off of Luminosity whenever we were in Stage 4 playoffs. So if anything, this is leaning even more the way of Team Mayhem. They, unlike the other teams, stuck with the same starting roster for basically the entirety of the group stages, the playoffs, and ever since then. So if anything, this team may have a little bit more chemistry than the rest, and it's really building on the strategy as far as what they want to do heading into the rest of this. But Bot Terminator's going to give this their best shot and see what they can do. Right here is maybe some off-meta weapons coming out for Team Mayhem to get things started here as well.
All right, well, gonna be offense for Bot Terminators. First and foremost, you got to try to win the opening engagements. I mean, you already lost the first battle, and you are trapping yourself inside of Art. And Team Mayhem are more than happy to take the gunfights to you and just leave you locked inside of Art. One player did at least get through. They were previously on B, but just because you were over there for a certain amount of time doesn't mean that Team Mayhem won't stuff you out and send you right back to spawn.
And Jesus is going to go ahead and get pushed up. Nice trade by Psych right there, but it's not going to last for very long. Kings, nice little quick scope right there as Team Mayhem get them pushed all the way back, and Jesus looking to set up the spawn trap right here. He's got to be dealt with if Bot Terminators want any chance in this round, and it's not happened yet. Such a nasty position to play. Time and time again, they turn around and are met by the pre-fire from the CX-9. Now on a 6 spree is Blur working with some streaks for himself as well. They finally take him down, but with the life count being 22-3, Blur, HBR in hand, everybody's streaking out right now for Team Mayhem.
2 versus 20. I was gonna scream winnable, even though it wasn't, but yeah, sure. All right, not a whole lot to break down there. I mean, Terminators put themselves in the blender. They just stayed inside of Art and just immediately got caught in a spawn trapped over by Garage. You have all those cards to pick from. You could have driven one of them up the driveway, but they just couldn't leave.
All right, well, Blur on 11 to get things started right there. Feeling awfully confident with the HBR in hand. Couldn't be nade shot. Jesus Dave's going to get pushed up toward top laundry right here, and he'll go all the way through regardless. Streaks have already been built, but he wants some more. Pred missile in hand. He's going to get that necessary information and continues to clear things out as Bot Terminators yet to take down a single player for Team Mayhem.
Oh, God. Now operators are being called into on top of the Predator missile. B-Zone's going to get captured, and
I will take care of it.
I mean, there is just so little hope in the tank. I don't know how much copium you need to pick up at the gas station to maybe try to get yourself through this situation, but at least they did find a kill. You have players that are around bedroom, so I mean the pinch is set up, but Team Mayhem, you just need a little bit of information and they will absolutely chase it down.
They do find 3 kills through right there. Yet to see what the score streak is for Blur, but Jesus is going to keep raining down Pred missiles. Now 18 kills on the board for him. Raph keeps things locked down with the PKM in hand. like I said, they're just using whatever they want right now as they're just straight up having fun. And Blur does get dropped, so the risk of a nuke drops significantly for bot Terminators. But Kings has hopped the objective. He's got an Annihilator in hand. Does pick up 2 right there. And now the Operator's pushing through the top side. Should all but guarantee that A capture as well.
I mean, this is where things just get egregious because, like, they didn't even need the Operators to confirm, like, that this is just going to end via the kills. They just know that they can get the rounds done via their gunny anyway. So it's, yeah. Operators end it all. I mean, sure, if we're not going to get a nuke, you might as well make it quick, I suppose. So at this point, bot Terminators, gonna hope for something, but I don't even know if there's any more straws to grasp at here as Team Mayhem are looking to put this one to rest.
You know, Cartel's just not having fun right now because his teammates are taking all of the kills. He's only got 4 kills on the board. Jesus, share a little bit with the rest of the players, you know? It's a team game. Raph with the PKM in hand, gonna be able to pick up another one right there. And as expected, Team Mayhem running through things is... yeah, why not flex the EMP? Just let them know how you're doing, how much fun you're having right now. Team Mayhem now up 8 lives. It's tough to even like keep an eye on the objectives because it doesn't seem like they've been a relevant factor in this map at all.
Yep. I cannot quantify how disastrous this is, considering that you have Kings push up past driveway, you're trapped inside a bedroom, and typically that would sound like a fun time out of context, but it just simply is not in this exact situation. 24 up against 15, 25 seconds remains on the clock. In any hopes of desperation, try to get the hell out of bedroom, maybe try to saw off this clock. The positioning on the map for Team Mayhem is going to keep them trapped, and in the blender, Raph just rips them to shreds, and it is all but GG's.
9 seconds remaining. They don't want to leave the garage. G's gonna clear out 1. Kings puts another out of his misery. No respawns remain and no time remains as bot Terminators reach the end of the line in their Snapdragon Pro Series journey. Team Mayhem come out on top with the dominant 3-0, and they lock in a spot in our challenge season. Glad to see all 3 of our top NA teams making it back into the action.
We knew that Team Mayhem was gonna come in with the heat in this match. Okay, they wanted to just get through it and get their spot in the challenge season. That's exactly what they did. A little bit of a tough matchup, but still Team Mayhem being down in that lower bracket to begin with, Bobby, was already going to be rough for whichever team went up against them.
Yeah, no question about it. It was gonna be a tough road regardless of who you are, and sometimes in these situations a little bit of luck of the draw. Like realistically, in an evenly spread bracket, Team Mayhem probably wouldn't have even made their way down there, but just because of the way things shook out, you get them down there, and anybody who engages with them is just gonna kind of get the floor wiped with. Like there's not much way to make around it. You see a nuke, you see a 7-0 in the search and destroy, and you see a control where Team Mayhem was not remotely interested in touching the objective because they knew they could win things based off the kills that they had, and it showed right there. Jesus saves, old 29 and 5, 6 KD, not a bad thing to take home.
Not too shabby for Team Mayhem. I mean, you know, I'm assuming that was kind of what they were expecting out of it, but seeing those numbers out of individual players as well proper is just promising overall for what they can bring to the table in the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's a lot to take away. Obviously, you know, the kills, the nuke being dropped in Summit as well. It just ends up showing just the overall, I guess, commanding presence on a lot of these different maps for Mayhem. You give them an inch to breathe, and they will absolutely turn it into a Grand Canyon, as the way that Bobby ever so described it in between these two teams.
Well, more of our matches have been going on as well. Obviously, Team Mayhem making their way through, getting our 5th spot in the challenge season. While that was happening, truly, like you were hoping, Bobby, 3-0, the GOATs, they make their way through as well. Now down to 2 more spots left available in the challenge season, and that will be between Tribe Gaming versus Wrath and Zero Remorse versus Team NBA. You can see Team NBA having made their way through there against Roasted Squad, and they will now be the last 2 teams teams battling out here today. And of course, we can't leave Tribe unwatched. We're going to be closing out the day with their match against Wrath. Tribe having fallen down in the lower bracket earlier in the day against LG. If you missed that, make sure you go back and check it out. But it is almost time for that final match of the day. And before we do that, means it's also time for the final break of the day. When we return, Tribe versus Wrath. Don't go anywhere.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Snapdragon Pro Series. It's almost time for us to close out the entirety of our Open Finals. Glitter Explosion, Bobby, and Proper hanging out with you guys here all day. Match number 4 right around the corner, and only 2 spots left available in our challenge season. One of those matches happening off stream, the other being the one we are about to talk about, which is Tribe Gaming versus Wrath. Tribe Gaming, we got a chance to watch a little bit earlier on when they went up against a very dominant LG. Now they've been knocked down into this lower bracket, and this is their opportunity to solidify their spot in the challenge. Bobby, let's talk about Tribe a little bit.
I think what we're going to see right here is once again going to showcase something that we talked about all weekend long, and that's the gap between the top and the bottom, how good the best of the best are compared to the guys that are brand new to the competitive scene. Wrath is a team that to be honest is better than a lot of the teams that we've watched today. Like, you put Wrath up against Bot Terminators, they probably handle business pretty easily, but they're going up against a Tribe Gaming team who, even though they just got 3-0'd by LG, are still miles better than probably 75% of the teams that have made it this far in the competition. There's a reason for that. Reaper, definitely somebody you're going to want to keep your eyes on. Very solid sniper. The rest of the squad, not quite as experienced. And Remy and Cox, are going to be two players that are definitely going to need to step up. Seen them play in some smaller tournaments recently. And the rest of the squad put up decent numbers, but those two players in particular are going to need to step their games up if this is going to be a remotely close series against Tribe.
Possibly, a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for them proper, but Tribe is they're just kind of one of those dominant forces that's hard to deal with.
It's just hard to truly quantify how much of a dominant force that they are, considering that they got absolutely whooped in that previous series versus Luminosity. So, I mean, maybe there's a chance here that you might be able to pick up against a broken Tribe, but I'm going to have to agree with Bobby at this point. I mean, there is just a massive difference as far as the team that you will see just from players alone. And Tribe has something really good to do here. I mean, obviously that Luminosity game isn't exactly how you wanted things to end, but when the map picks, bans, and veto process ends up concluding for us, we'll have to see how they're able to rectify a lot of the different issues that were showcased in that 3-0 loss versus LG not too long ago.
Sure. That's a really good point. Well, the veto process is underway, if I'm not mistaken, so we should be having those picks and bans coming through, and we'll start things off with a Summit Hardpoint, Bobby.
All right, Summit, love the way we...
I could have told you what was going to happen, Bobby.
Bobby's going to write it into the rules that it's not, that the people aren't allowed to pick firing range anymore.
A tale as old as time. Firing range, search and destroy. I'm happy we get to see Crossroads Strike for the control. I don't think we've seen that all weekend long. So at least something new right there. Summit's one of the 3 hardpoint maps that we've seen. I don't see a way we make our way into map 4. Definitely not a map 5. I think in another timeline, maybe there's a way that Wrath actually make their way into the challenge season, because once again, they've got some solid players, they've got some experience, but just the luck of the draw going up against Tribe in your final matchup puts you in a really difficult position. And I don't know, I don't feel like there's a ton to really break down as far as the map pool goes. Firing range, search and destroy is definitely one of the COD Mobile maps of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
It just wouldn't be the final series on broadcast for all of us on the weekend if we didn't get a firing range map number 2 search and destroy, and also a potential 3-0. We haven't gone map 4 on any of the broadcast or any matches so far that we have had. So there is a potential lunacy, if you will, of having so many firing range map 2s and all 3-0s across the board the entire weekend.
I think there's literally only one off-stream match that happened while the last match was going on that went 3-2. I think it's the first one.
Good for them.
Yeah. I think it's the first
Shout
one
out to those
time.
guys. Record breakers.
Between Team NBA and Roasted Squad, 3-2 in favor of Team NBA. So that is the first time it's gone the full 5 all weekend.
They had a mid-off. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
You weren't there, Bobby. You don't know.
But I know. I've seen the roster. I'm just telling you, they had a mid-off. That's all I'm saying.
My God.
I will take it. Okay.
Bobby still hasn't regained from the nuke that we just fucking shot on the Summit Hardpoint. He's just ready to call out everybody at this point.
It's because every time he watches it happen, he just thinks in the back of his head, Bobby Buckets, Dino Nuggets could have done it.
We should have been there. That should have been my squad, man. It's all right. I have fun casting. It's all right. I'd rather be here with you guys. I'd rather be here with you guys.
We'll
He's crossing his fingers behind the back. He's crossing his fingers behind his back. You see this, right? I see it happen.
Well, sure. We're gonna set up a caster match where Bobby will have an opportunity to put everybody into the ground.
I love it.
I'm saying
immediately after this one, should I get my iPad?
No, we're giving it the full fanfare. It'll be during challenge season. Okay, you're gonna have a setup. You'll be ready to go, and you're just gonna 1v4.
All Luminosity. You have to face Luminosity and somehow take a match.
Wait, I thought I was facing you guys. I have to face pro players. That won't end well.
I like Proper's idea better. You should go up against LG.
Put your tablet where your mouth is there, Bobby. Come on, man. You think you can hang with the top?
Right, touche.
You gotta beat the best.
Fair enough.
Listen, if Verdict catches wind of this, we're in trouble because he's going to be on board, Bobby. He's going to think it's a great idea.
I mean, that's fine. I'll obliterate Verdict. That's not even going to be an issue.
Trash Talk Central. All right. While we're waiting for our fourth and final match to get underway, chat. Why not? Why not? Just let us know how you think it's going to go, or let us know how you think the standings will go. Pre-guess the standings for the entire challenge season, because I'd like to know what everyone thinks is going to be in first when it's all said and done, because as I'm saying that, I'm being told that match number 4 is about to get underway. Let's get into this and find out who our challenge teams are.
All right, yet another Summit hardpoint. Maybe some interesting weapons in the mix, as I think we saw Jez pulling out the swordfish to get things started. Seems like Tribe feeling very confident heading into the start of this one.
R9's up top from Solo, drops down, and it's just an absolute calamity across B1. All right, well, I mean, Wrath were there for a certain amount of time. They at least collect 1 kill in the opening scrap, but Tribe are certainly here. They picked up the kills. They're accruing the time.
Yep, have not had any difficult dealing with the pushes from Wrath so far. Only 2 kills on the board for them, and they continue to cook. Coxie going to be there to push through for 1, but S-Thug trades on out. Solo said, you know what, I'll have some fun with the butterfly knife. Why not? Solo's going to push all the way through right there. Not going to be able to get the kill, but regardless, Tribe untouched on P1 so far. And Raballo looking to get in his rhythm, build a little bit of confidence right here. He's on a 5 spree early.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is the same Raballo that we were constantly singing the praise and expecting a whole lot out of him, going back to that LG whooping that we saw in the upper bracket qualification match. So definitely would love to see that confidence, some pep in the step there for Tribe Gaming to be able to slay out versus Wrath. And while they're delivering on exactly all of those goods, plus some extra, just clearing the map once again, getting the rotation over towards P2. Wrath have yet to get a single point on the board.
Yeah, this is about, honestly, maybe even a little bit more lopsided than I expected it to be. Wrath have some decent players, but unfortunately, Reaper has not been able to connect so far. They get their first time in the hard point. It's a whopping 2 seconds to the 75 of Tribe Gaming, making their way back on, and Raballo shuts it down immediately. And the streaks continue to rain from above, as it looks like that Rytech has actually been picked up by Tribe. Wrath hopping back on the point. S-Thug's there for 2 to make sure Tribe gets the rest of the time here on P2.
5 seconds on the board there for Wrath. That's 5 more than what they had previously, so big moves. Tribe back inside the hard point. The rotation over towards P3 is currently underway, and Wrath do have a couple players here around the ski lift. You do at least get Reaper to spawn in towards the back, so Tribe don't have numbers, but the problem is that Wrath are just taking too long to try to clear the rest of this P3 hard point. The moment it becomes open, S-Thug opens up things there with the Sparrow. We got a Predator missile being called in by both Jez as well as Solo. They have completely cleared the backside of the hard point, and now Wrath might just be caught in the spawn trap.
Oh, and this is where the backside of P3 spawns go wrong. If you can't win the gunfights on the entry into the hard point, then you have managed to find a way to spawn trap yourself. Fortunately, they end up spawning out, so all it's going to mean is that Tribe Gaming now gained those last 30 seconds for free. Space going to be looking to lock down the front side, and it's S-Thug picking up the 2 kills right there as Reaper shut down. Nice, juicy 3-piece for S-Thug. He's on 21 kills early on, and we're already looking to start to hit that rotation over toward P4. Space respawn sniping just because he can, and right now Tribe Gaming steamrolling their way through this one.
Yeah, all set. Everybody almost at 20 kills. The only one that's lacking behind is Space. He's having a little bit of a chuckle with it. Same with Jez down there at 11, but hardpoint doesn't accrue itself, I suppose. I mean, Wrath are still finding a handful of kills, but it's literally a 1 for 4 trade, would you reckon? Hypes also was able to take down Raballo, but just because you're inside the hard point doesn't mean that you're immediately going to get swarmed around the back. Tribe Gaming, albeit, yes, slaying the hell out. Those are the fundamentals that we do expect to see out of a top 3 contender from North America. Get the spawns in your favor and then just absolutely layer on the pressure.
Robalo's going to get shut down on the push up from Snow right there, but Solo there holding down the front side. Forklift is not going to be surpassed anytime soon. And Tribe Gaming hold a 125-point lead as they get ready to start the rotation back toward P1. S-Thug looking to build on some streaks right there. And even though there's no nuke streaks in sight right now, Tribe looking very reminiscent of what we saw from that Team Mayhem squad. Hypes, there's a guy next to you. He's got a butterfly knife in hand, and he is not showing any mercy. Jez now on a 5-3 right here as Tribe continues to snowball, and they're looking to end this one, like we've seen previously, as quickly as possible.
Oh, yes, indeed. 19 to the 162. Hardpoint contested, but the question remains, for how long? And Robalo says, not that much longer, as he takes down Remy around the back. Some trades at least to speak of, but it's nothing to really write home about. I mean, not unless Wrath are able to get a convincing kill feed, which they have yet to find this entire summit map number 1. Tribe are just going to be on this continuous loop of just finding kill after kill, spree after spree. You got score streaks in the back pocket for a handful of these players, operators if they ever so want to use them. It just feels like that Tribe is inevitable at this point to be able to find the kills required here at the end of the junk time for P1 and get on over to P2.
Yep. They clean things up nicely here on P1, and once again, so many streaks to work with, so many operators ready to go. I don't know if they're saving them up or if they just don't even realize that they're there, because for them, the gunfights are so freaking easy. S-Thug, Robalo, both at 30 kills plus. Highest fragger over on the side of Wrath is Hypes with 14, as they've not found any semblance of map control. They find their way onto P1, but just like that, Solo pushes through with the equalizer and wipes the entire team.
Almost single-handedly, and now the spawn trap just is starting to occur over by P4. Split spawns have occurred for Wrath, and I don't necessarily know if it matters. I mean, Reaper is at least able to find 2, but it's just a mere consolation 2-piece. 2:16, 30 seconds remain here inside of P2. We will at least guarantee ourselves another rotation over towards P3, but I mean, Wrath have to do the impossible here versus Tribe, or just putting this game well far out of reach within the first set. S-Thug's up to almost 40 kills, 35 on the board for Solo sometime soon. Space is up to 33, who's been sniping a good chunk of this as well, and yeah, oh, it's a good time to be a Tribe fan, I'll tell you this much watching this game.
Yeah. This is where they want to be, and for Wrath, this is exactly where you do not want to be. Coxie's still trying to find double digits right here. 36 points on the board for Wrath, and maybe some headphones lacking for Remy right there as Robalo runs up right behind with the deagle in hand to take him down. They have those spawns locked in. They've got the gun A locked in as well, and should be in a position where they can take map number 1 with ease. Tribe Gaming 2 maps away from locking in a spot in our challenge season.
It's just such a tough ask, isn't it? I mean, we've already kind of talked about it behind the scenes before we ended up coming back from that last break before match number 4. So this is how the bracket kind of shook things up, right? I mean, you got Mayhem in the lower bracket, Tribe versus Luminosity up in the upper bracket qualifier as well. You're going to get these top 3 teams down in the lower bracket. Unfortunately, you do have to play up against them. That's just how the system works here in open finals. And, well, Wrath understanding legitimately just that. As we go through a lot of these highlights, it will be a Tribe highlight reel.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to speak of for Wrath. Is like we said, a couple players put up not as bad stat lines, but there's nobody putting up a good stat line. I kind of gassed up Reaper a little bit, and you know, maybe we chalk that one up to the Bobby Jinx, but didn't really show a whole lot to call home about, and it's not necessarily his fault, but once again points to how big the skill gap is between these top teams and the guys that are trying to push their way through to be able to challenge the top dogs. Lots and lots of hours put in, not only against their own region, but especially once he qualified for stage 5, you start putting in reps against outside regions as well. And Tribe showing that, might not be able to take down LG, but we can take down just about anybody else. And a 250 to, I believe, 36 map 1 is how you do that.
Yeah, I think it is important for Tribe to be able to showcase just that they can be that dominant force, right? Obviously, falling short versus LG earlier this evening. And honestly speaking, still having to get a winning record versus Mayhem in recency. It's still important for Tribe to really confirm that they are a top 3 dog in North America COD M. So out from the summit hardpoint into the firing range, search and destroy. And it's going to be offense first for Wrath. And just as soon as I start framing things up, first blood is already found for Tribe.
All right, Coxie gonna be there for a trade, but S-Thug, he's been tearing through people with the ground hand. That is an 18-second round right there. We'll see if that's a time that Tribe can beat later on. It feels like that's going to be the closest semblance to competition that we can find is Tribe fighting against themselves to see how quickly they can end the rounds.
Speed run against themselves. Trapped in back banana. You already got at least Solo. He's pushed inside a wood. First blood there for Jez. And now you know where all these players are located. That's the call for space. Sniper in hand to push closer to bathroom and keep these guys trapped.
Solo, nice little bit of parkour to be able to sniff out one. Nice little 25-second round right there as Tribe continue to take care of business, and no real response from Wrath yet. You send a couple players multiple directions, and once again, kind of the approach that we would have liked to see at a Zero Remorse. Like, if you're getting absolutely torn apart, trying to look for first bloods on a slow approach, maybe just chuck all your utility at a bomb site and see if anything sticks. Jez looking to suppress right there. He's going to be able to find one, but Wrath at least make their way through to a bomb site. Unfortunately, they don't look the other direction, and that's going to make life easy for Tribe as Raballo's there to clean things up with the Deagle, and all down to Coxie as he is isolated back toward that treehouse side.
Yeah, and he is literally just in that treehouse, having himself a little bit of a laugh. Solo just comes flying out, will die. 1v2 up through the window. Hold on a second. Is Coxie gonna be able to win this? So we go to the 1v1 cam, and this is what makes Spider-Man so effective right there, Bobby. Nobody looks up. Ain't nobody ever gonna look up, and that final kill is gonna come through.
Well, Space, you could have let him have one round, at least something to call home about, but unfortunately, no mercy to be shown once again. If Wrath's going to have any shot at taking a round, Reaper's got to start stepping up. Has not been on the level that they would really expect out of him, and once again, Tribe just running full steam ahead, and you can't really blame them as Raballo's going to turn the corner, does get taken down as Reaper finds his first kill, but they find themselves completely pinched on the backside of wood. They have zero map control, they have zero information, and what they thought to be a defensive approach has actually put them in a worse spot. Fortunately, able to find a couple of those picks on some over-aggression from Tribe, but once again, Solo on the lurk right here. And oh my God, the timing of the swap to the Fennec was absolutely ridiculous right there. He's just going to disengage altogether.
Yep. Rewrap this around, potentially. There's one player actually watching this. Hypes is currently playing on the backside of this trailer. Smoke will blossom out. And I got a feeling that Solo is potentially trying to run in there with the knife and potentially try to end this in a very aggressive way, and that is absolutely the case. Finds the kill with the knife, swaps back over to the SMG, and just gets the job done willy-nilly. I mean, bomb got planted. These are the positives.
One step at a time, you know?
Oh, yeah.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time?
I'd prefer not to eat an elephant. What?
Well, but if you're gonna eat an elephant,
if I'm hungry enough to eat an elephant, Bobby, I will give you a call.
All right, sounds good. Fortunately, or unfortunately for Wrath, they need to consume an entire elephant right now within the next 7 rounds. So we'll see if they can manage to find a way to do that. But it continues to not really look great. Solo, he said, I'm kind of tired of using a gun, so I'm just going to run around with my knife right here. And unfortunately for Wrath, they still haven't found a way to punish him for it as Tribe Gaming run through the middle of the map. I didn't catch the time on that one, so that may have been their speed run record for this search and destroy, but I'm not 100% positive.
I didn't see it either. I'm just sitting here having a little bit of a chuckle to see how fast they can maneuver through the middle of the map and how little Wrath are willing to do to stop it. This time around, it's not through the middle of the map. Look at this push through Banana instantaneously as the map did start, but Reaper's watching it, finds one. At least the second was there. Numbers are here for Wrath, and Jets tried to eliminate them, but it's S-Thug left alive to do it himself. And are you kidding me? That's an illegal move.
Oh, they have families. They can't be allowed. How did they even do that? Oh my gosh. Well, Tribe Gaming handling business as expected. 6-0. I want a tally for how many 7-0s we've seen on firing range, because it's just, it shouldn't be possible to see that many 7-0s on one map. And maybe this is the map pick of the dominant team. Maybe that's what the issue is, but my gosh, wait, never mind. Why did I say wait?
You know, they all had us on the edge of our seats. They had us in the first half, Bobby, of that round, but certainly not in the second half. No, not at all. But you know, it's funny that you bring it up on how many 7-0s that we've had on firing range, at least across the entirety of the weekend, both Europe and North America, because that's not just a lot of search and destroys you have to sift through. It's a lot of firing ranges you have to sift through as well, because I'm pretty sure that we had more firing ranges in a percentile for map number 2 than Lysol kills germs. And 7-0 on the board for Tribe versus Wrath. They take a very and swiftly and yet dominating 2-0 lead in this series.
Yep, we head into the control. Crossword strike, I think this is probably the first time we've seen this on the weekend. I think it's pretty much only been raid and standoff. So at the bare minimum, you know, something new to throw into the mix. I don't think there's any realistic reason to expect that Wrath come out on top right here, but a nice change of scenery will be enjoyable at the bare minimum. So Tribe, as expected, handling things easily right there. We'll check back on the timings of the round to see if they beat any of their speedrun times. A lot of Deagle kills coming out, as obviously they wanted to have fun with it as well. And obviously cheeky little spots for Space. He knows all the hideaways, as Tribe Gaming just goofing their way to a 7-0.
I mean, it's just the amount of times that Solo was going fishing for these knife kills, even used his smoke just to get a little bit closer over towards the actual training dummy side to try to do it. S-Thug goes 13-3 casually. It's 4-3 for Solo. Come on, man, what are we doing? Get more kills. 7-3 for Jez. And I mean, look, there were no goose eggs. Doubt did have a breadstick at the very least, but a flawless search and destroy coming through from Tribe. And again, continuing on with the narrative, this is exactly what you need to see if you are a fan of this team.
Yeah, and especially with S-Thug dominating at the level that he has. Obviously, it's not quite the same as doing it against a top team, but he seems very, very comfortable on the map. It's not a surprising thing for anybody that's been around COD Mobile competitive for a long time, as this is a guy who's won MVP titles in smaller tournaments on a regular basis. And to be honest, it's more surprising that this is the first year that we've seen him be a regular force in some of the major tournaments that we've seen. So definitely good to see him making a place on a top roster and really earning his spot. Obviously, Rihan, the other player that was picked up from Devious for that Tribe roster that we could potentially see in the mix, but they definitely seem very, very comfortable with S-Thug leading the way as an AR.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what we needed, especially from said roster change, right? I mean, albeit we haven't seen Rihan, it maybe could have been the difference maker versus Luminosity. I'm just grasping at straws here at this point to maybe try to see how and why they got absolutely decimated so easily by the #1 team in North America. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how this, I guess, compilation of players is going to continuously grow, right? Because, I mean, I don't want to, call it too early, but I think we can all guarantee that this is probably going to end in a Tribe victory, and we will see them continue on past this open final stage. That there will be a certain amount of time in between then and now where we will have to see how much lab work this team can actually get put together, so that way they can be that team that is more than just a dominant force on a piece of paper. We need to be able to see it really come through in fruition, not just in these stops that we're getting here in the lower bracket, but also against the top teams as well.
And that's one of the things that left a lot of people confused is the Tribe team that we saw in the group stages for stage 4 didn't look like the team that we saw in the playoffs. They really fell apart, and they haven't been able to get back to that level that we've seen ever since. The Tribe team that took Luminosity all the way to a map 5, and maybe it was just that they had a good day, but they took Luminosity to a map 5. They handled Team Mayhem with ease. And they just simply haven't quite found that same chemistry ever since then. So do very much hope to see if they can continue to build on what they have. That's a 5 life lead to get things started for Tribe Gaming, make it a 6 life lead. Only one player taken down so far for Wrath, and the spawn trap is going to get set up early here.
Oh yeah, is it ever? I mean, this is just where it's going to get absolutely nasty. I mean, Crossroads Strike was already such a small map, and now you just got Tribe just straight running it down on all 2 lanes that you have available to yourself in between the boiler and the lake itself. So spotting behind the utility crate, at least we'll take down S-Thug from I guess a further power position. But just because you dealt with one Tribe member doesn't mean you have another one on top plat, and that will be Jez just raining on down hell from above.
We got multiple AK-47s coming out. I'm assuming the Tribe players have picked up a couple of the Wrath weapons because there's 4 ARs in play right. No, I take it back. Yeah, 4 ARs in play right now for Tribe. So they're just smoking them from the top side. 20 kills, 2-0, round 1. The speed run continues. They're trying to get in the record books at every opportunity possible. And to be doing this against a team like Wrath, like I said, Wrath, not by any means somebody I would consider a tier 1 team, maybe not even a tier 2 team, but somebody that could absolutely go toe-to-toe with some of the teams that we saw in the lower bracket and even qualifying for the upper bracket. But Tribe just so dominant. The reads have been so good. They're so confident. And that confidence really gets to your head when you're an inexperienced team that just doesn't quite know what to expect.
Absolutely. I mean, it's that cut above the rest that we just continuously allude to. If you had any questions or considerable doubt on what we mean about that, it's literally on your screen, and we've been watching it all weekend long here. War Machine's going to be pulled out here for Raballo, just making sure that he can keep them honest on maybe trying to push past the forklift, but it's just simply in a losing affair. Some straight kills to at least speak of here for Wrath. It's not a completely flawless offense, but that A zone is going to keep that clock stalled out, and it's going to allow the rest of these Tribe members to try to find more kills.
Only a 7 life lead here for Tribe, so Wrath at least keeping hopes alive as they're able to wipe off that B zone, get rid of the progress there. As I say that, Jez picks up 2 in a row with the sniper in hand, and Solo catches 1 on the cross, or at least looks to, but not going to be able to connect. Regardless, Tribe do lock in the A zone, and with a 9 life lead, should be able to find some inroads over toward B. Only 2 lives remain for Wrath, and that should mark the end of yet another round and put Tribe in position to be 1 round away from closing this out and securing the final spot in the challenge season.
Well, you know, we continuously talk about like the speedrun challenge when it comes down to control. We've been getting raids and standoff, and although you can get a spawn trap on both respectfully, if there's going to be a map that you can get it done even faster, I mean, this map is just tiny. Like, you could probably fit 2 Crossroads Strikes within an apocalypse. That's how small it is, as the equalizer off the rip for Solo is just ripping them asunder. Finds an abundance of kills, still has some equalizer left to play, and that should start to enact a spawn trap. Can't find the last one as he has to put it away as it runs out of gas, but I think the damage is already done pretty early. It's 26 up against 17.
How did the equalizer last that long? And more importantly, how did they not kill him? Where's the communication? Where is literally anything to give Wrath a chance? Already down 18 lives. Forget about the objective. These guys are just playing fast-paced TDM at this point. Raballo is going to take down 2 more. Pred missile in hand. And Tribe Gaming, speed run of a lifetime, as it looks like it's going to be less than 2 minutes for this one. It's really just Wrath trying to play hide and seek to see how long they can make the round last. Hype's going to be able to find 1, but they get the information. That should be enough to sniff him out. Equalizer in hand, able to find a couple more kills, but let's be honest, 1
You know what they
versus
want.
22. They he's on the objective, guys.
You know what they want? Come on!
Uh-oh. Oh, Jez. We gotta ruin the fun. Tribe Gaming 3-0-3-0. And they will be heading to the challenge season.
It's just mighty unfortunate that we get denied not just one execution on the day in an earlier match, but now a second one, as well as the DoorDash challenge from Tribe is complete. Glitter, I feel like you were just here with us. Welcome back. How do you feel?
I feel like I blinked and then we were done. So honestly, I'm not upset that Tribe asserted their dominance. I think that was something that needed to happen today. Especially after their loss to LG, like you were saying earlier, Proper, like it wasn't a gentle loss. I think they needed kind of just some sort of a comeback to show what they're capable of, because obviously they're going to be one of those top teams in contention the entire challenge season. And so this was kind of just putting an explosive bow on the end of their open finals run, if you will, Bobby.
Yeah, especially after that series against LG, I think a lot of people look at it and are like, oh, Tribe's washed, Tribe's not good at COD Mobile. Like, nobody needs to pay any attention to them. And it's once again just a demonstration of how dominant that LG team is. Like, it truly is a super team, and it's gonna take a lot of VODing and a lot of practice for anybody in stage 5 to have a chance at taking them down. So Tribe handled business right there. Nobody's surprised to see that. Wrath gave it their best, but unfortunately their best was not enough to make it remotely close at any point in this competition. And it just goes back to that point of how big the gap is between the top teams and the rest of the guys trying to make their way through the competition.
We've got some more moments here from that last match. And you guys were mentioning before, you know, obviously this is one of the last spots in the challenge season here proper. I think we know everybody except the very last one. I think that other off-stream match is probably still running right now. But from what we know so far as the teams that have qualified, what are you most looking forward to in that challenge season?
I'm just excited to see what Tribe is going to look like with the time that they have to cook, right? You know, I was kind of alluding to this while we were watching the speed run on Crossroads, but like you got to give these guys some time, right? I mean, they got absolutely whooped apart from a couple rounds on the Slum Search and Destroy versus Luminosity, and there was some moments in that opening Apocalypse Hardpoint that they kind of just really tossed their way to that loss, but I'm excited to be able to see what Tribe are going to look like, maybe not even in their final form, but as they inch their way closer to that form.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could see Tribe's performance now reflected here in our open finals bracket. 3-0 against Wrath. And that other match that I was talking about, that last off-stream lower bracket round match, is currently 1-1 between Zero Remorse and Team NBA. Team NBA being the team I had mentioned earlier as the only one that had gotten a 3-2, made their way through into the next stage of the lower bracket round. And Zero Remorse had lost at the beginning of the day up against Disciples. They were knocked down into this lower bracket, and now these two teams are battling it out, currently 1-1 for that last spot in the challenge season. So I think there will be a possibility that we'll be able to jump in with that match and kind of catch those final moments. But before we do that, we're going to give a little bit of a break, get everybody set up and ready to dive into it, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the place where dreams come true. Where everything you want can be yours. If and only if you're willing to work for them. You're willing to hurt for them. But most of all, you're willing to be first for them. Ha! Look, I'm going straight to the top. I don't know how I would stop, like it or not. I got some goals that I'm hitting. You hear what I'm spitting? It's hot. Look what I got. Whole lot of passion and pain. The road to success is insane.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series. Our Call of Duty Mobile Open Finals for NA are moments away from being done. We got through our first 4 matches, and one of our off-stream matches is still running, which means there's still one more spot left available in our upcoming challenge season for these two teams to battle out. And we're pretty much going to get a little bit of extra action. All right, it's 1-1, or it was heading into our break. So both of our teams have at least gotten 1 win on the board, and they are currently playing on their 3rd map right now. And we're going to be jumping in whenever we get an opportunity to, just to check in and see how it is going. And I think this is the only team, when I'm looking at the results here so far, when I'm talking about Team NBA, that's given us multiple series now that has gone longer than a 3-0. All right, and you can see what happened to start it off, 250 to 152 on that hardpoint 7-3 in the S&D, and now we're in that raid control. Bobby, your thoughts so far?
It is concerning for Team NBA that they lost a hardpoint to Zero Remorse, given what we saw them do up against Disciples earlier. So I'm curious if they're just an S&D specialist team, whatever we can really expect out of them. Obviously, map 3 going to be an important one because neither of those two maps super close, and typically between closer teams, control's going to be the swing mode. We haven't experienced any close teams so far on the weekend, so this is really the first time we've actually had to hypothesize about whether or not one of these teams is going to have an advantage going into that.
Well, let's call it a spade here, right? I mean, this is the first time that we're guaranteed a map 4 all weekend long. This is the first time that we're seeing a swing map mode combination on control instead of one of these two teams going in with a 2-0 lead. But yeah, you got to echo the point that Bobby just brought up. I mean, the fact that Zero Remorse were able to win a hard point after getting absolutely dismantled by the Disciples earlier. I mean, what? They put up a whole 38 points on that Arsenal. I don't know. Maybe they're just the bounce back kings. Maybe Team NBA are S&D gods. I'm not too sure.
And to be fair, Team NBA is not a team that we've even gotten to see yet, so we don't know what happened in their matchup prior to this, and we only got to see Zero Remorse for a very limited amount of time. It's a limited amount of information that you can even really go off of based off of their last match. So between the two, and we've seen this a couple times throughout the weekend, which is not a bad thing. It's just that we have so many new names, new faces, new squads coming through that our information is limited to whatever we get to see in this particular weekend. And there have been instances where that might not be the performance that's fully indicative of what these teams bring to the table. If they're given a second opportunity and able to play again in the lower bracket, sometimes teams are able to turn things around. But it's always a little bit up in the air with any of these new teams, especially if they haven't even, been on the content creation side or making some sort of a name for themselves, because we're just kind of grasping at straws here, Bobby.
Yeah, and to Zero Remorse's credit, Arsenal is one of the few maps that's newer to the competitive scene as far as hardpoint goes. So if there's going to be a map that you're going to struggle with just because of lack of familiarity, it would probably be either Arsenal, even Apocalypse is at the bare minimum in the ranked pool. So it very well could have been that that's just not a map that they were prepared for, and they could have stepped up things big time and made those adjustments based off the struggles that they had earlier on. once again, question marks around whether or not they're going to be able to keep up in the search and destroy. You know, a 7-3 against a team that you handled pretty easily in the hard point might raise some concerns, but we'll see what they're able to do in the control. I don't know if that's a map that's underway already or if it's one that we're waiting on the results for right now.
Yeah, I think that if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be trying to get in on the 4th match, I think. Which is almost ready around the corner. So we should be able to at least find out the results of the control shortly after that, which would potentially inform you a little bit more on the performances of those teams heading into map number 4. And like you were saying, Proper, one of the first times we actually get to go to that map number 4, which means we're going back to a mode they've both already played and hopefully they both learned something from and then can carry that into map number 4.
Yeah, I mean, again, as you already were talking about, Glitter, like the only information that we have off of these teams is what we already had in front of us. So Zero Remorse were able to take the control. Not exactly sure of the score. Not that it ultimately matters. They do have a 2-1 lead. And if history is doomed to repeat itself, even in recency, as far as this best of 5 is concerned, taking the hard point 250 to 152, this should look pretty darn good for them. My biggest concern off of that little information that we did have, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt with you there, Bobby, as far as hard point is concerned. Their rotations were certainly lackluster. Their setups soon after were even more disastrous. Takeoff is a map that will punish you for not having either one of those. And I'll go ahead and just call a spade again, that if Zero Remorse have any sort of semblance of understanding that map that's been in the pool for quite some time, they will probably be able to run away with it. So Team NBA absolutely do have to bring it if they want to force that Slums map 5.
Yeah, no question. And you got to think the momentum for them, especially when it comes to the respawn, is there, having taken both the control and the hard point. So Team NBA desperately going to need to shape things up right here to have a chance. Once again, we haven't gotten to see any maps out of them, and the maps we saw out of Zero Remorse, there weren't really a ton of takeaways that we could have just because of how one-sided they were. So we'll see what these guys are bringing to the table right here, but we are ready to go here on map number 4, the first map 4 that we have seen all weekend long. So shout out to Team NBA and Zero Remorse as we hop into things right here.
I mean, it is just poetic that it takes the final series on broadcast for the open finals to finally get what we've been asking for. We didn't get a firing range map number 2, albeit we didn't see it. And we're gonna go on map 4. Come on, Team NBA versus Zero Remorse. So far, I mean, Zero Remorse will be on the favorite side of the map. That's, of course, going to be inside of the stadium, where you can really start taking a look at that money hill first and foremost. But a lot of time to be battled over here as far as P1 is concerned. And to be quite frank, Team NBA are getting the better of Zero Remorse, albeit a 6-point lead. They are keeping them at bay.
Yeah, pretty even through this first set of hard points. Team NBA do take the high ground over toward red. And Jay should have an angle to be able to take down one. Dame pushing on into the hard point. Wait, are these guys all named after NBA? Okay, I thought maybe they were all named after NBA players. You know, that would have been really cool. I'm kind of disappointed in them for not doing that, but at the same time, they're in the middle of the action, so I will find it in my heart to forgive them. Zero Remorse get the better of the hard point, and they do get spawns toward next as well. So the setup is in for the top side. Dead Justice going to be able to find one. Can't make it a second. Nice little flick out of Levi right there. Will secure some high ground control. And Zero Remorse, Valid Nick actually earning an EMP system early on. Great for him to get things started.
Absolutely. Gonna immediately call in that Predator missile, get some information, potentially a kill to follow suit as well, seeing all of them try to escape and get refuge away from such a score streak. But I mean, this is just immediately what Zero Remorse needed to rectify the issues that they had in their earlier series on the evening here, Bobby. They were rotating first. They're winning gunfights around the hard point. We're now down to that scrap time where Zero Remorse are still setting numbers towards and maybe try to influence maybe some scrap time. But I would reckon that you probably don't want to do that because you already lost gunfights past P4. That flips out the spawns, and Team NBA have a free rotation in it.
Yep, great spot for them to be right now. 3 players on the new hard point, only 1 to contest right now for Zero Remorse, and he's going to get shut down right there. So an opportunity for Team NBA to start closing this gap. 4 players on the hard point. Not sure that's something I would recommend. Maybe push out for a little bit more map control as players for Team Remorse, or for Zero Remorse, make their way through the backside. And it looks like they're going to be able to clear out a couple more, although the operators start to come out. Dala Dame able to connect right there. Not going to get shut down quite yet, but it happens just as I say it. And C Nasty going to be able to find 2 with the RUS right there as Team NBA do hold the line.
Operators being invested. You saw right there the Sparrow immediately be pulled out for Jay, gets shut down. 2 Annihilators being invested previously for Zero Remorse, and that should keep this hardpoint rather scrappy. It is a lead flip, but a small one at that for Team NBA. And the rotation from 3 to 4 isn't exactly a long one, as it's quite literally just across the way from each other. Zero Remorse looking to at least clean up for this scrap time here on P3. Will keep the game just about dead even, and there's that rotation towards new.
Actually, perfect dead even as we head on into P4 right here. Sparta trying to lock down. Nice little heady right here. He's got a pred to work with if he wants it. Should have an angle onto another right there. And it looks like Zero Remorse going to look to flip out spawns. Not going to be able to do it. Team NBA going to be able to reinforce. 3 spree for Dreamville, who finds another shutdown right there. And they're just walking right down the barrel of his gun. Couldn't ask for anything better if you are Zero Remorse. And they will continue to hold the line here on P4. Levi, AK-117 in hand, keeping the off meta handy. And they will get a nice chunk here on P4.
Yeah, I mean, hey, even when the Growl was first introduced way back when in MW 2019, that is exactly what it was known to do. It is a bullet hose, as I'm sure you know, Bobby, and walking through those narrow choke points going in towards P4 doesn't exactly make things any more kosher for Team NBA to maybe try to get some more points on the board. They will finally break, but it's a consolation of what, about like maybe 5 seconds or so towards the end of the first set. A good about 40-point lead for Zero Remorse coming in towards the second set. Back over towards P1, we will fly. Sparta calling in that pred missile, at least trying to get more kills. It causes more space and distractions for Zero Remorse to maybe dip their toes into further operators and far more kills to boot.
We've seen a shocking number of pred missiles get 0 kills. That is not going to be the case for Dreamville. He's able to pick up 1 right there. And Team NBA make their way onto the hard point, but Levi farming free as can be from the high ground. Clears out the hard point to allow for a contest a little bit. Dead Justice whiffs the entire magazine, but you know, happens to the best of us. Team NBA will keep that hard point locked down as Nick trying to find his way from the high ground pushback as well. And Zero Remorse have not had much of a response here on P1. Dead Justice finally making his way into the hard point, but you want to focus more on those rotations toward P2.
Yeah, and this is exactly where I'm going to continuously put a magnifying glass on Zero Remorse. They were kind of fumbling the bag back in the first set. I'm making sure that they're fighting for new when there's about like 10 to 15 seconds left, I would say, for takeoff in the previous hardpoint. Now, Valid Nick was able to at least put himself in a position to get up top of the stairs. That helps out Levi's cause to get up on top of the stairs as well. And it's setting up a nice little pinch as well. I mean, take a look at the mini-map. You got Dreamville that is currently setting up the pinch. That upsets the spawns. Numbers are favoring Zero Remorse in this current hardpoint, and the break's sure to follow. 40 seconds left to fight for it.
Big break for Zero Remorse, especially to lock in the spawns right here. And Team NBA left with a question: how many times do you want to push on through? They're able to find 1 and the contest on the hard point, but they don't look to the opposite side. That allows Dreamville to find the easy trade, and they continue to trend upwards. And with still 20 seconds to be gained, great spot for them to be right now. Some unorthodox operators ready to go as well. Death Machine being rocked by a couple people on the map. And Team NBA find their break on in. But the question, is it worth it? All eyes on that rotation toward P3, and Dead Justice is already there.
Sure is. Again, rectifying the issues that we saw in the previous set. Numbers already set up around for Zero Remorse. The only player that might have slipped the net that they might not fully know about is player number 3 in blue, and well, immediately just gets snuffed out. But still, it helps out the cause for Team NBA to at least work their way through the front doors, but they just kind of put themselves in a barrel, and well, it is like shooting fish in a barrel right there for Zero Remorse. Re-entry back inside the hard point is a good one. Continuously trying to scrap over who can get control of this P3.
Purifier comes out for Levi. He's going to be able to find a couple. Jay taking himself down. Not something you want to see, especially given that that is likely at the hands of an operator. And Levi just continues to cook, call it barbecue chicken. Find a couple more right there. Sparta's there to lock down the rest. And Zero Remorse looking to build on this lead, but they just can't seem to keep Team NBA out of the hard point. Beneficial respawns right there as Dead Justice makes his way back on in. And one player already on rotation for Zero Remorse is once again, they get the positioning, but can't come out on top of the gunfights.
I will say this much, though, albeit Team NBA getting those beneficial spawns to recontest that hard point as quick as they were. Contested time is still good for Zero Remorse. Like, let's be candid here. They have a 70-point lead, and so long as the hard point remains to be contested, they will continuously hold that lead. So they're just looking for that really important wipe. It's starting to come through. At least Team NBA are there to make an argument. Nick, though, what a juicy three-piece that was. Take it to go, and the team wipe soon to follow. Gravity Vortex gun just to clear some of these doorways and keep them trapped out. Zero Remorse over 200 points.
Oh, Dreamville, crucial two-piece right here. They can get close to that 250-point mark if they can hold the line. Not going to be able to find the kill, but it's enough for the assist. And he's going to be able to back up as another Pred's going to drop from the hands of Nick. Death Machine comes on out for Sparta. And one player left to be cleared out. He's actually going to hop off the hard point voluntarily. And not going to be able to connect there, but the shots follow up anyway, and it's Zero Remorse all in the feed. Nick with 45. Preds continue to drop his Dreamville. Is going to find one for himself, and they have an opportunity to close things out here with 3 players on the hard point.
On P1, no less, 233 and counting up. Team NBA are spawning in over by P2, and they got to start finding these kills. Trades need to be a bountiful. They at least did enough to get themselves back out of the hard point, but numbers still favorable for Zero Remorse, at least in the meantime. Jay's able to at least find 2. Nades are still ringing over the top. Zero Remorse are starting to re-enter themselves inside P1 where they can still win.
And right now, Zero Remorse just can't seem to figure out where C Nasty is. They finally get him cleared off the hard point. Team NBA trying to reinforce back through right here, but I don't know if they're going to have enough time to prolong this back to a P2. Only 5 seconds needed. Nobody within the region, but they hop off the hard point. Nick finally gets back on.
Okay.
One more second, and that will be enough for Zero Remorse to come out on top and lock in a spot, the final spot for our challenge stage.
Yep, the final spot. It went to a map form between them and Team NBA. The hard points were not necessarily close. It was the search and destroy that they did lose, Glitter, but now we got our 4th and final team, Zero Remorse. They bounced back after losing earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to feel good for Zero Remorse, too. And now they need to utilize the time between today and when our challenge season starts to really do some prep, some research, and some practice, because we now have our 8 challenge teams. You can see them here reflected in our bracket. It is Disciples, Goofy Goovers, Sane, Luminosity, Team Mayhem, Zero Remorse, Tribe Gaming, and Truly. So everyone that is on the far right of that bracket chat is everyone that we will be seeing over a 4-week challenge season. Then there will be challenge finals. It's going to be really epic. NA is now locked in. So that's got to feel good. Bobby, final thoughts on the day.
There are a lot of highs and lows. It would have been nice to see more maps out of that Tribe versus LG matchup, but once again, LG have earned the spot that they're in. They're the top dogs, and anybody that's going to challenge them has really got to bring their A game, which Tribe were just not quite on today. So I am hoping that we can see more close matchups heading into the challenge stage. Obviously, a lot of new teams with a lot of work to do. Hopefully, the next couple of months will be a great opportunity for them to get going.
Proper, you too?
Prep, VOD review, and do it all over again, because you have only so much time in between then and now to make sure that you can at least compete to maybe try to see yourself as a top 4 team, because again, that podium looks to be pretty damn solidified for North America in between Mayhem, Tribe, and LG, albeit with LG still sitting nice and pretty up at the top. Just want to be able to see some competitive maps once that time has come.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting NA season. I am looking forward to it. Can't wait to get into all of that action, but we've got a little bit of time before that happens, which means if you want to stay up to date on the entire challenge season, make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. Don't forget that is X, Insta, and Facebook. All information that you need Snapdragon Pro Series related will be there. And if you want to hang out with the community during the downtime, head on over to discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series. Join us there. Hang out with us. Talk all things Call of Duty Mobile. Prepare for the upcoming challenge seasons because it's going to be a really, really good one. But our open finals have been concluded. Our 8 teams have made their way through to the next stage of the competition, and the challenge season for NA is really looking like it's going to be a good one. So make sure that you're following along so you don't miss a single second of any of the action. As always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy, Monster Energy, DHL, and the U.S. Air Force for making this whole thing possible. And thank you, chat, for hanging out with us and watching the show. On behalf of myself, my co-casters, and everyone behind the scenes, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here in the challenge season.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have a spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
Another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here. I don't got the time, put me in, coach. I've been going hard, time to let it show. Everything raw, give it to me now. Let me have a spot, man, it's going down. Gotta get it here, I don't wanna wait. Take what I want, then I go train. Gotta get a win, I won't lose the game. This is my year, I ain't gonna break. Strap in, cause it's gonna be a long ride. Working on me every single day and night. There comes a time when your worlds will collide. If it's holding you back, push it right to the side.
Another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal. On another level, I will never settle. Mind over matter, get the gold medal.
Ain't got no time for no fear. I work too hard to get here.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.